48 right now. It's a fantastic look. It looks like it may be working into that 250 area. It's up a respectable over 44% right now. So keep your eye on this one. If GPUS gives up the ghost and you're looking for a small cap gapper to trade in the afternoon. But for Joseph and I at the moment, guys, we will see you tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Thank you very much. Not only the professional look, it's also the professional throw. For Joseph and I. That's like what they do on the news. It's like for Brendan, Sean, and
right. And I'm Neil Roberts.
And I'm Neil Roberts, and this has been your Trader TV Live moment, or something along those lines.
Right. Neil, you're a professional at that.
No, absolutely not.
You're pretty good.
Come on, son. But you know what? At the end of the day, as long as the market trends up, and as long as we understand that it's not free falling like that incredibly famous Oasis song that I think we're all aware of, then we should all be very
Oasis.
If I could do like a proper English accent, oh my goodness, I was like, the second he said it, I'm like, I would wonder what free falling would sound like with an English accent, because it would be ridiculous in my opinion. It's just like certain things don't work.
Yeah.
Can't do a Tom Petty song in an English accent and have it not sound completely ridiculous. But shout out to this market. It's been an absolutely wild one for individual stocks. The market itself, slow grind. But two stocks which have been moving that make the most sense why they've moved the most are Palantir and HIMS. Although you can't tell me what happened. I don't know what happened to HIMS at 1 o'clock. I just assumed there was news, and obviously there wasn't news, and I wish I didn't make that assumption, because it just bounced off VWAP. It's squeezing back to the highs. They're the only two names that are reporting that we expect big moves on, unless you count Ford tonight, which we were corrected by this morning when I said it was only Palantir and HIMS. Ford also reports after the bell, for anybody that's still interested in that stock. Weed stocks, I don't know, I just had a look at them. Didn't see anything too crazy going on there. I know there's a lot of discussion about those bad boys. We'll keep an eye on them. You never really know when they could go squeezing.
No, what's up, everybody? I'm still short. I am short now at Video, which is a new position. Then we just reloaded Palantir right there at VWAP, and that was, I mean, this was the day, and then this is day +2 right now. Good reload down there at VWAP. It finally came through. You know, that's what we were waiting for. Forget about what was going on earlier, because we already just got hit out on that one at near and at the day's high. And there's another fill for us right there on Palantir. So this is like another Dollar Club winner right there as Palantir. Yeah, man, I was doing this on your show there, Sharif. We actually got long 123.70 right there on Palantir and ripped that thing up to 124.60 right now. And then newest position is, and I just tweeted about this right here. I was like, waiting for NVIDIA to get down. And I don't... this may not get down. So, you know, market with a net, it was starting to go right there, by the way. We were just flat on this trade again. But the NASDAQ right now, there she glows. And the thing is that, like, this is the whole thing, right? This is why Palantir today is the #1 trade idea on the sticky note. With earnings tonight and the way it's been moving, it was a no-brainer long. And we took it, and we're just sitting in it. So let's just wait and see what winds up happening now into the close. Like, I don't think people want to be short into this number tonight. And hey, man, I could be completely wrong. The number could be disastrous. We don't have that crystal ball, but welcome back. Hopefully it's going to be, not hopefully, I mean, we're planning on this being a big show. So thank you for being back right now. Big earnings tonight, although we just kind of joke about Ford. But
you know what? It might move.
Thing is, right. I mean, just because it's a $9 or $10 stock, hopefully it's not 8. You know, a 10% move is still decent if you can get that. I mean, yeah, and then it's just a matter of trading the right share sizes, right? I mean, you know, obviously I'm not going to trade, you know, the same amount of shares in Ford that we're doing in NVIDIA or Palantir. You would up your share size over there because it's a lesser price stock. And then the move, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like Ford is at, I mean, if we go over to Neil's,
Ford's at a level, everybody.
Right.
Like 10 and a half bucks.
Why can't we go there? You know?
Anything halfway decent, and suddenly you could break out. Why not? I mean, in Ford's case, remember, in Ford's case, a breakout would just be going from here to like 11.5 bucks. So what more would you need than that? Go right into resistance. So yeah, like there's always plenty to sink your teeth into. I know we get a lot of earnings this week, and it's not always the sexiest one. I don't expect them to move this afternoon, though. Barring a catalyst, I wouldn't care too much about Ford this afternoon. I see Ignacio asking about Bull and Tisha Perkins, all about GPUS. There's some real small cap runners that have been going all over the place. Webull, however, before we get to Sharif, feels like Webull might have made its little bottom, and it wasn't at 10 bucks, unfortunately, because that's where all the SPAC lovers would want to buy this one back up. But yeah, Bull, it held 13,
Bullish.
pulled back this morning, and it found a bid at 15 bucks, and right back into the high. So there's a little bit of a squeeze happening, back into the green, V-shaped recovery, still has to take out the top, and then you could really have something if you get through that high on Bull. But it's certainly, I mean, I wouldn't call it, can you call it bullish when the high was, what was it, 70 bucks? 80 bucks. Good for now, but I don't know how bullish you can call it after just, a couple of days here.
Yeah, Palantir's trying to go back to 125, but to, shout out to our girl Valeria. We are very bullish on the stock market right now, and we hope that she is doing well. Miss V, great cast member, of course, and would love to have her back, but she's not bullish on coming back, I don't think. So, all right. Let's go back over because right now, oh, there it is. Look at that. TikTok. Follow at TraderTV_live.
Allah.
On TikTok.
Market beat.
Bitcoin is 94.6.
It wants 95.
So, Joe,
It needs
in the famous
95.
words of Sharif, get it, Joe. And Sharif is at the screen
Get it, Sharif.
right now, hoping to equally get it.
Welcome, everyone, to the Afternoon Rundown, the show where you decide what we talk about every afternoon. The boys, they're locked, they're loaded, and they're ready to look at the tickers as decided by you. But the only way to get those tickers on there is to join Joseph and I on the midday show and get into that chat and vote for your favorite tickers every day. But you've got to be a subscriber in order to like and vote. So make sure you are liking, subscribing, and sharing. Here's a look at the 4 major averages. Only one of the 4, boys, is positive, and it is the Dow Jones Industrial, up 1/3%. Not a bad look. The Russell trying to go green here, marginally red, down 0.04, with the ES also close to flat, down 0.1. The NQ as well, also down 0.1. So they're looking at getting into green territory. Fantastic look off those pre-market lows. Not a bad day. Palantir up overnight, making all-time highs yesterday on Blue Ocean, ahead today of its earnings report, boys. This one does report after the bell, so make sure to catch that with the Market Recap Show, gang. It is and not a bad look at all, hanging out near the highs.
Yeah, Palantir, you've heard of that stock a couple times.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, it's going to be
They have a CEO, what was his name again?
something
He's got an interesting hairdo.
not even connected to
Like,
ECS.
I don't know, it's something about a fish.
Yeah.
I don't know, but he's fishing for more shorts to blow out. So what's interesting about this? And I refreshed this because really, did Palantir really only move 1.5% last earnings? And in your head, you're like, no, Palantir doesn't move like that after earnings. The expected move this time is 14%.
Ooh la la.
But I'm a little surprised that they must have really rinsed everybody that was playing options last time. It didn't move. I'm surprised by that.
It probably did. What day was it?
Shoot, this doesn't.
It doesn't?
No, it does. You know what? You mouse over it, so there you go. January. Why is it? There we go. What? February 3rd. Sorry, February 3rd. What do you have?
Yeah, no. I was just looking. I was trying to find February 3rd over here.
In my head, I'm like, I feel like we'd remember if it didn't move the last time it reported.
Yeah, you're right into. This gap is from. Thing is, I did just go over to the Nasdaq. This is February 3rd right here. So $82 up to 104. No, it moved.
No, that's yes.
It moved an incredible amount last earnings call.
1.5. I can't.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. It moved huge.
That's right.
So it went from $84 to 104 last earnings call. So yeah, we're expecting big.
That's why I don't trust that, because like we're expecting double digits. Like it's a double-digit move.
What did, I mean, Adara does her report. Maybe we can see what it's writing down on there. But yeah, look, today for me it was a very, very simple trade, and it's a big one, and it's my whole day. So it's Palantir. Yeah, we even reloaded it there at VWAP. We were just excited about this. We wrote down 123 because that's, you know, potential level that I thought from Friday, right there. And then we fell in and we almost got stopped out, right? And the thing is that we had kept taking it out, and then eventually it does find a bottom, and kind of like exactly at 121.50. So sometimes, you know, you got to take a shot, and we did it off of that level. So again, the reasoning for averaging in here, and we did average in, but it wasn't bad because there are outs. Like if I zoom in here, we were able to get out. Like these are bottoms out on the top. But then once it fell in, we never really went under where our last average was at 121.50. So then it just bumped right back up. Bunch of outs there at 124. Like that's $2 and change. That's the 200 period. Then it falls. Then it does this. Then we're gone for an hour and we come back and we're at highs again. And I already had orders sitting at 124, 125. That's what these orders are to get out. And then we just took some more out at the top. Then when we broke down, and then it was just like, well, I want to get longer on this. So that's where we sat there and picked it up on VWAP. So Palantir, man, the king of the jungle. It's positive today. The NASDAQ is down. You know, we're very close. I don't know what kind of record we're about to set here, but it's going to be about, if the ES can get positive, it's 10 straight days. So, I mean, yeah. So believe, you know, disbelieve, believe all you want. You know, the NASDAQ and the ES appear to be back a little bit here, led by some strength in some of these bigger companies like a PLTR. And now I lost, we're going to talk about NVIDIA in a minute, but I did lose on it and reversed into the long. So we did go short. Once it broke 124.50, I reversed into the long right now, but I do understand that this could be dripping back in. I'm going to hold this to 114 break. So those of you guys that are in on this one, I'm going to wait to see if the market does want to retake new highs and then eventually go green. So, all right, tariff.
I feel like we're going to get green. Like when you have a streak like that, and then you throw in, throw in the getting this close. It's like, did you come all this way? There's that line. Did you come all this way not to test it? Whether we hold green, it's a different story. No, I just thought, Tony, I wanted to highlight this. Delirious like Murphy. Let a boy take you back. Yeah, Delirious. Some people like Raw better than Delirious. I'm definitely in the Delirious camp.
I'm in the Delirious camp.
Like 10 out of 10.
I mean, Goonie Goo Goo.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And the ice cream man is.
I mean, not only that. I mean, what the fit the guy had on.
It was just, no, I know they're both classic, but Delirious. That's stand-up when it was at its absolute
I wonder if
best.
there's like a ranking, like a stand-up. There must be a ranking, like a website that ranks stand-up bits.
Richard
like not
Pryor,
bits, but
Sunset
the whole.
Hill was that's a pretty good one.
Yeah, the whole set.
Well, his set,
Oh,
like,
that's
that
what
was
the set is called.
I think it was Sunset Hill, something like that. But then
I like
Delirious
Richard
is up
Pryor,
there.
but yeah.
Oh, Richard Pryor.
There was a lot of drugs being consumed during that phase.
Man, it was the 70s and 80s. Not that I would know. I mean, I was barely even born. But he did a lot of movies that were, you know, pretty weak just to get paid, kind of nonsense.
Oh no, I mean, I think
which a lot of people do.
We
Like,
love Richard Pryor.
You do what you do to get to make some money, but he did like the worst Superman. He did this horrible movie. We're gonna go to. We're gonna
I wonder
go
if
to.
it was done bad on purpose.
There's a movie called The Toy, which is like one of the worst movies ever. And it's like you watch it, it's like, how in the world did he actually think he gets hired by a rich guy to be his kid's toy? It's so bad,
right?
It's so wrong.
Yeah. I know
that in some ways it's like it's genius, but
funny.
in the rest it's like, what the heck?
Yo,
don't crap on
your mouth.
Don't even harp on Sharknado.
They made 4 different Sharknados. That's how successful it was.
I think they made 6.
So you worry about some key lime pie over there, okay, my guy?
Don't crap on
you don't worry about
Sharknado.
You don't worry about movies, okay? All right, let's go back over to Sharif.
Shit was legit.
I love this conversation. It's good times, guys. All right, Tesla, yet another country in Europe where sales are down. Spain, guys, down 36% year over year, despite overall EV sales in Spain being up 54% year over year. Obviously, a lot to do with Elon Musk and that issue there. So Tesla, guys, down below 300 again, 1.8 4, I believe, on the day in the negative, but kind of still within that multi-day range that it's been in.
Multi-day range, huh?
At this point, I think it just wants to go green on Tesla. Like Tesla, this multi-day range that you're talking about, it's just a big long bull flag that I think is about to give the you-know-what to the shorts if we ever take out this 95. I don't know. I just don't know what's going to get us there. That's the thing. Like, we shorted a breakdown because we wanted the highs. I think in this market, when you have a stock ranging like this, you want the highs, you want the lows. When we were at 75, we left you saying, okay, well, we want the long in front of 70. Well, it never got there. So at this point, you've got a nice little higher low respecting these two, like that 270 to 275 area. I think you respect the 295 till it breaks. But we said it over and over again. Those short sellers that are in here, and you know they are, like they're just hanging on by a thread. And I don't wonder if they're not accumulating too. Like, why wouldn't they be? Why wouldn't they be accumulating short under the 200 period moving average in the 95 zone? All you gotta do is break 96, 97, and then once 300 goes, the Tesla's off to the races. But until that point, you're still short in the top. I don't think we see that today, unfortunately. I'd probably look for the opening range high, like 85, and maybe the close price, which is 87. That would be a spot to look for a turnaround. But yeah, Tesla 2% down. Actually, considering how it felt this morning, that feels pretty good for Tesla. I think you could have expected a heck of a lot worse based on how it was selling this morning.
All right, we'll talk about, some people asked me about this NVIDIA position, but we'll talk about that in a couple minutes, or 1 minute. So yeah, you know, when there's sort of everyone screaming for the exits, especially when there's not like a super strong story that leads Tesla to the downside there, you know, it's tough to predict that this is coming back, but, you know, always the best thing to do is to try to zoom out, right? And then, I mean, when you're looking here, other than it being exactly 275, like those were great moves back in. So if you're waiting for an even dollar or anything like that, you know, you would have had this trade. The only thing is like when you look lower, you kind of think if 275 breaks, then I just wonder, like, is this an out there? 273.50, probably that's decent. Like, that's good risk to reward, right? $1.50. I mean, looking back at it, obviously $7 up is great. But, you know, I just think that you always have to think to yourself, like, is this a trade that I would have taken or maybe would have waited a little bit lower? For me, I think I would have probably waited for 270. So a little bit lower. So Tesla not really there today for me, but a great little pickup there at 275. And all we really do is put this little information up here. So next time this happens, you know, we can figure out a better level. So when I zoom out, I will see 275, you know, tomorrow or whatever day this happens again. So yeah, a little key level there for me on Tesla. Looks like it's going to be 275 to go on TSLA. So again, another great spot right there. Pick some shares up. Hey, I think this gets to 300 before 250, right? So, and we were just halfway there earlier today. So that's my thing. I think Tesla can rock. I think Palantir and some of the other stocks this week should lead the way a bit. And then if we ever get that good, this is another one of those names similar to NVIDIA, which I'm in. We're going to talk about this in a minute. That does get solved, I think, by the stroke of said pen, where if we can do something with China, then yeah, Tesla 300 is in play, as is NVIDIA 120. So yeah, let's go talk about NVIDIA and chip tracking.
Yeah, that's the idea here, Sean. Apparently, there's a bill being floated around from a U.S. representative out of the state of Illinois that NVIDIA should start tracking its chips. He's proposing a number of ideas, actual chip tracking on the chip itself. And the other idea is that it doesn't allow it to be booted up unless allowed by the home station or so in the United States after verifying that it went to the right location. So, you know, lots of different ideas right now. Basically, the idea here is to get control of these chips, and so they don't find their way into the Chinese hands. We'll have to see how this all works out, but the bill hasn't even been introduced into the House of Representatives yet.
So I think ultimately, as Sean said, stroke of the pen. That's what we're waiting for here. We're getting headlines, and look, you're getting headlines that it's like it's a negative headline, and we're not doing much. Like, look for continuation on this. I'm in SMCI. I was just in NVIDIA scalping that range. I had one good trade on it into VWAP, which I feel like is you get your spot, you pull back into VWAP. But outside of that, range-bound day. Friday's bottom is today's bottom, and we're not at yesterday's high. The high right now is right around Friday's close. So you've got Friday open low, Friday close area is the top. And then we've traveled that a couple of times here on NVIDIA. I would need this trend to break again. Whoops. I gotta be on my drawing tool. I would need this trend to break to jump back into a VWAP short. I'm just sort of putting that from where it was off VWAP in there. But NVIDIA, Sean said 120. I'm gonna go to a weekly chart on NVIDIA. Like if we get a deal done, I say we, I don't actually mean we.
You're not working on it?
Well, I got passed over to be part of the deal making, I guess, regime.
You're not going to that dinner tonight then?
Well, I came up like we tried to pull it together. Cheese pulled in some scratch. Hungry Man pulled in a little bit.
Yeah.
We had everybody in there.
Couldn't scratch
Slim
up
Charles pulled in, but we came up 250 short. Unfortunately, so we didn't get all of it. No, I think we can get to 125. That's on the weekly chart. That's the 50 period. I think that's the next stop for NVIDIA. As long as this market keeps bleeding higher, I think we can get to 125 bucks on NVIDIA. That was a wire reference. There's when they're trying to get they're trying to get a connect back after one of the head guys gets off, and everyone.
Yeah, I know. I figured. I figured. Yeah.
Everyone had to kick in a little bit, and I think it was about the same as this dinner. I think it was about 1.5.
What?
Now that I think about it.
Back in the wire. That wire is an old show. Like 1.5 back then. Like that's a lot.
No, it was a good connect.
Yeah, man. It must have been.
Joe.
Oh man, put something in my. All right, so real quick, for all y'all right now. All right, so we already made the high of the day on NVIDIA, so congratulations to me. Where I was short right into here. What was that, Joe? Right into there, and again, I wish, I wish I would have had less shares there, but I didn't, and so we took an L. So we're failing right now on that. We did write down short 114. So when it came back into this area, we started going, and I didn't really put on shares until we got to this top of 114.40, and then I took a quick L, man. As soon as that broke through 115, I keep saying punch up and market it out, right? The system gets me out. So that sucked because it's an L, right? And so it's fine. Everything's fine. But we're going to try to go long. So I punched little long when we got stopped out there into the 50s, thinking that, hey, if this pullback happens, we do want to get longer. And I'm trying to buy through 114. If we drop through 114, then psychologically, I think we can get out. I mean, we could actually move this now to where this 200 period is, maybe 113.94 or so. But look at this. I mean, would you take a look at that? It's straight to the upside right now. The trend is here. This is what the futures look like. If I'm going to lose today or, go red or whatever the case may be on all of this, I'm never happy to do it, but on this kind of a trade, I think I like the long now. That China story doesn't seem to be hitting the stock, as severely as, I thought that maybe it would have early. It actually took off, and then there's that 114 short that we had written down right here. I mean, we have it. To me, to lose on this would suck because we have 114 short written here on NVIDIA. So for me to be long 114.40, all right, but we're changing our opinion here. It's the middle of the day, well, near the end now, but let's just see if it gets going. It's held this 113.50 area. I don't really want to see it down there, so we're going to punch out if it breaks 114. So, yeah, we'll give back the day a little bit if that does happen, but hey, we're here for that, I guess. So let's wait to see what winds up happening now with NVIDIA.
Before we get back to Apple, I just want to address Jedi. First of all, May the 4th be with you. Of course, it was picture day today, so I didn't wear my T-shirt, although that would have been a weird one. I assume you mean Root. When you say, please take a look at Rook, they're presenting tomorrow. That'd be a cool name for a company.
Checkmate.
Yeah, it's just, there's a lot that we could do with that to have a little bit of fun here. Root Insurance, they're an insurance company. One of those, kind of like a Lemonade, like an AI insurance type play there. I love the trend that it's in. And I remember the last time I looked at this, I was incredibly surprised at how strong and how well this was holding up. I didn't necessarily think that this is the kind of name that would be doing so well in this environment. But it's actually been producing pretty well. Now, I don't know what presentation they have tomorrow, But typically speaking, if you're looking for something which has been riding a trend to get a catalyst to push to the high, that would be a good one. Just watch out for this little flat bottom here at 134. Like, I think that's your little support level. Like, a couple of days last week, it managed to hold. Someone's selling it at 150. Not a crazy mover, but I'm surprised at how well it's been holding up. So good look there. Now let's talk a little bit of Apple with Sharif.
Yeah, a couple of headlines today, guys. They're looking at changing their iPhone schedule. So the more expensive models like the Pro and the Pro Max looking to be released in the fall. This all starts in 26. So the current schedule for this coming September unchanged. But starting in September of 2026, the Pro and the Pro Max will be released, and in the spring of 27, we're looking at the regular 18 as well as the SE and possibly the Slim as well being released in the spring. So 2 launches or 2 release dates for the iPhone coming up in 26. Also separately, they continue to sell off Apple, that is earnings day 2. I'm defending that $200 level, but we were below it. And then this came to us as well. Apparently, Apple looking at selling corporate bonds in many as much as 4 different releases, guys. 4 parts to sell these bonds. We'll give you more information on that when we have it.
Raise a little bit of coin.
There's nothing wrong with diversifying your portfolio with those bonds, I mean, if you ask Wu-Tang Financial, then, you should be diversifying your bonds.
Apple's good for it.
And they're good for it, and that should be a good play for Apple. But, of course, Dave Chappelle's show aside, which is so good, really. Yeah. We've talked about defending the 2 bills, and it didn't work. Yeah, we know. I think Sharif should be singing the Chappelle show. It's the Chappelle show, and the guy's sitting there on the bucket.
Yeah, the bucket.
Playing his little harmonica there.
Rich!
Rich, biatch!
Yeah, there you go.
Right there. Well, if you have a hot hand in a dice game, then you can clickety-clack, and next thing you know, we're trying to roll the dice here with Apple today. And, I mean, I haven't rolled the dice with it.
Oh, I thought you made a trade.
No, I did not make any trades with this name. I had wrote down earlier on today, and I mean, again, when we see the news from Friday, which was the report that hit on Thursday night, and we didn't really move too crazy for that one right there. We had written down Apple right there as a short of 205. The highest it got to was 204.15, and it got there right away early. So I hadn't had it right there. Like, we had written down the short 205. 205 is right here. We were a little away, like I was saying, about 70 cents away. I was sitting at 204.75. I'm always like around a quarter away from the levels that I like. So that missed. And yeah, then it was like, see ya. And the fact that we missed the short, sometimes your bias just gets kicked in, and it's like, I already missed the short, so I really didn't get part of this because I was waiting to see if we did get a pop back, at least to the 200 period, right? Right now, you've broke the 200 right there, so straight to the downside. The 200 was at $200 or so. We broke it. That could have been a long in this area, bouncing off the 50 period. Now look at it, just ride it all the way up. So yeah, Apple looks good to me now. I would say it's a long until we break 200 again. So very similar, man. I like NVIDIA long into this level. We've talked about that. And I think if Apple can fall back, the one name that we didn't look at was Google today, but I think, Apple off 2 bills.
We didn't look at Google.
Be something. Well, I heard people talking about Google.
Well, Microsoft, because Microsoft has been booming since earnings. People have been talking about that. Amazon on and off. Bezos was selling those at 193. Right, I mean, the guy knew Apple was the second it wicked that top. I'm like, well, we're not getting the shot at the Apple level I like, which was 208. So that just completely out the window. It just came down to I like support to resistance type plays, and there was never anything going there with Apple. The problem with Apple right now, and here's part of this is Meta. We're going to close, barring some kind of crazy, it's just not going to happen. We're going to close the 50 and the 200 upside here on Meta for the second time, right? So you're consolidating above both major moving averages. And this is after earnings, right? Microsoft has been doing it well above the 50, well above the 200, almost at the highs. Here on Microsoft. Like, it's been booming a little bit. And this is all to say that that Apple has been languishing a bit. I mean, even Google is going to close second time above the 50 period, approaching the 200 period moving average. And unfortunately, Apple literally rejected the 50 period and is heading lower. So until proven otherwise, this is the bear in the Magnificent Seven. And it's a stroke of a pen, like we always say, things could reverse. Like it's the one with the big China risks. It's gonna take a while for them to move all the way out, move all of their supply out of China. And to the extent that they try to do so, great, good for them. I think diversifying is a good thing. But unfortunately, it's just not looking that good. If it loses 200 this afternoon, I think you wanna look for shorts. But this is not one I want to buy the dip off VWAP just because it happens to be above the volume weighted average price. You know, the other Mag 7, so much better since their earnings.
We done?
GPUs? Whose GPUs?
Not NVIDIA's.
GPUS, guys, the small cap gapper today, rocketing up and still near the highs, guys, over 500% as we knock on the door of that 510% mark. Hyperscale is the name of the company. It soared on preliminary Q1 and full year 2025 guidance, guys. I don't think that's why a lot of people are getting into this one today. This one looks like an intraday trade. Boys, what does it look? Above 8.25 right now.
Oh, it's got a triple top right now at 850 actually. Yeah, triple top. I don't know if you guys, I would assume this would be a Sharif special. Yeah, all over this one, 500%. The volume's 265 million shares traded on this. So the volume is incredible, despite the fact that it's not always even like a 1 cent spread on this. GPUS, it's on the Amex. That's the thing that trips me up a little bit. Yeah, so it's not even that tight of a spread. Lots of dark pool printing going on. Like, look at the time and sale. It's all D's on your time and sale. So that's where you're getting 2.5. So it's a blue sky setup, but this is the kind of name that I would want no part of at the high of the day. I think you want to look for your next available dip, play along with the trend to the best that you can. And yeah, that's about it. I don't know if this is, like, I'm not chasing it up here. Not when it's already shown you some of these tops that have been rejected and it's already looking like a little bit of a pullback. So maybe you buy some dips in this thing to try to go back into the trend. $7 looks pretty good. Josh J, what do you think of BTC as do you think BTC is a short around 95.3? Was hoping long off it, but broke through over the weekend. So I'm in IBIT and whoa. Okay, so that's off of VWAP. I don't know what's going on with that IBIT chart. Here, this one looks much better. So it's working this trend, and it just put a wick underneath the trend from VWAP on IBIT. I'll zoom in so we get rid of that's much better. So if we lose this consolidation, I'm out. So that's about 74. So I have a trail out, and I want to go long off of VWAP. So that's what I'm looking at for IBIT. Obviously, Bitcoin is going to be a bit of a different beast. In terms of price action. So I know you like 95.3. You want resistance to turn into support. Well, I'm looking on the 15-minute. I think you got to wait. It's like you've got 94.8 before you even get to try to fill in this gap. Well, from there, I think you've got a long, if we break out there, to go at least another 5 bills into that prior 95.3. Like, I like the idea. Usually support turning into resistance. There was resistance before. But the first order of business is trying to punch through this current high. That Bitcoin is trying to get through is a 15-minute chart there. There, you can see a little bit better. 94.85. Like, that's what I'm holding for a break of, and then I have the trend line as my out.
If I stare at NVIDIA long enough, it will break. 114.50. All right, we got some out there. I mean, we're back in the money. But whatever. Let's go. Okay, so just from one small cap to another, shout out to my Big Bear AI gang. What up, gang? Let's go. What's up, Bear Gang? That's what we're going to call ourselves from now on, okay? Self-proclaimed Bear Gang.
Yeah, that's the same shit.
Right now. So, yeah, man, 308, 310. Let's go, Bear Gang. Let's see if this can get back up to the upside. You know, they did recently have earnings. Let's just double check, okay, gang? Let's just check out what's going on with the amount of shares. Well, we're already XRP Nation. You guys, we've talked about that. Palantir short flow right now, 2%. Bye-bye, Palantir. I'll see you at 150 tomorrow. All right, BBAI. Hold on a second. Let's just check out what's going on with Big Bear AI. Yeah, need to get that a little bit higher, huh? 25% right now. let's go NVIDIA, right back to days high. We gotta get this going up. But right there, yeah, yeah, thanks, Joseph. Right there, 25% short float still on the biggest of the bears. AI right there. We'll wait to see if that one wants to get going. And if we just zoom out, you know, they had earnings as well. They dropped down. It was pretty bad, and then well bought back up. So we'll wait to see if these are the recent lows or not. Big Bear AI has seen, I thought it was 250 or so was the recent lows in the tariff dump there. But you know, again, not a great earnings call. We were all here watching that. And then it was Thursday, and I wasn't here Friday, but it did battle back all Friday, including making higher lows. Like if we sort of take away the first 10 minutes, and then even then, there's the low, there's the low, there's the low, there's the low. Then I guess it was broken right there around noon, but came back into the 50 only to close again another new high, brought back the low, holds again, and then we close the market, and that's it. And then I guess this morning dropped out right there, but I do like some big bear on the AI front of things. Palantir just continues to be, man. I mean, from real AI, you know, with Palantir. No, I was going to say Big Bear just needs to get here, but there's Palantir, man. More outs right now at 125. It was really... This is the key, man. That reload rate there sent the net doing something like this on the stock. So hopefully we can get it going up right now. I'm gonna take out another piece here on NVIDIA. It's at 114.60. This is where we closed. Okay, well, there we go. We got a 58. That's where I was sitting. We're also sitting at 64s. So just looking at NVIDIA, I mean, people asking me about this trade. Thank you so much for trusting in some of the trades that we have on right now, right? We'll talk about Micron. We do have a losing trade on today, Micron. We only traded NVIDIA, Palantir, Micron. And I'll show you what happened to Micron. But there it is. So you're just coming in, again, into some levels here. So if we do that work and we talk about where potentially, shout out to Rihanna, work. If we get up here into 114.80, that'd be pretty sweet. And then, so that's gonna be my next. So I am waiting at 64s for some reason. And then we'll wait over in and around here at 114.96. I still can't believe my guy over here, Joe Money, got me on Nazim Kadri's number. That was, I feel so bad about that one. What? I should have, last week, man, 43. I
missed that?
I don't
remember this.
But then you missed it. Oh, no, we were talking, he had one of the numbers wrong. It was an easy one. Was it Nylander, maybe 88 or something? And I was like, yeah, I'm pretty good at all the numbers. And then he was like 43, and for some reason, completely blanked it out. And he's a Nazim Kadri guy over there, so he.
Well, you forget it because it's painful what he turned into after he left us.
Yeah.
No. Because he broke out.
He did. Yeah, he played well. He played well. Yeah, he played. No, I mean he won a cup in Calgary or in Colorado, I believe. So yeah, I know. But the thing is, that happens to a lot of the Leafs.
Well, because we never win.
No, but it's not that. It's like the reason. So he probably doesn't play well under pressure. Like that's what happens. Fair. And then it's a big market team. Like you see, you walk down the street here, people recognize you.
Well, look at New York.
You know, Stamkos.
So New York is experiencing this. Like they traded a lot. This isn't baseball, but they traded a lot to get one of the best young closers in baseball, who's pitched his whole career in Milwaukee.
Right.
And nothing against Milwaukee. But,
one of the greatest states.
But it's not like Wisconsin. Pitching in Yankee Stadium and the guy's been getting beaten up. Like it's
I mean, that happens. It happens.
It happens. Athletes are human beings as well, for sure. But like are they? Well, maybe not. You know, maybe not MJ. That guy was an alien.
Yeah.
But no doubt. But there's someone in the chat was like, "Oh, is there news on HIMS?" They report after the bell, along with Palantir. I believe both at 4:05.
HIMS.
I want to say
HIMS will have a bigger move than Palantir, I believe, because of the guide.
I think so too. It's got the huge short float as well on HIMS. And just I want to zoom to the 15 minute. It just now wicked through. So remember that big aftermarket or pre-market moving action, the overnight 43 area. So it just wicked that high. If it can punch through 43, this is squeeze potential. But remember, they're reporting after the bell. So there's certainly a little bit of I would imagine there'd be some sellers in there that just want to take some profit. right? So I'd respect some of those sellers. They're taking some of that profit. But I forget about VWAP anymore. I think maybe the 42 level, if we do get to the volume weighted average price, I would want to buy again. But if it can break through 43 and start holding bids above, which you can see it's just not doing, then you can get into more of a squeeze potential. And yeah, Joseph Birch, it was that Novo partnership, why they were doing so well. Oddly enough, that partnership was a little bit of a hit to Eli Lilly. I don't think much. I think Lilly still wins overall because they got the oral. But yeah, Novo partnership, a big deal. Let's see how it translates to the numbers. This has a decent short float. I'd have to look it up. I don't know it offhand, but I believe it was certainly into the high teens, if not 20s.
All right, so little bit of a new segment. Okay, so we already had lunch. All right, but Neil and I,
We had lunch?
we have the complete opposite. We don't have the jerk chicken. So I look over to my Jamaican friend over here. Wagwan. How was the jerk chicken? It was all right? Okay. Well, that segment
That was
sucked.
it? That was
Okay,
good?
so there it is. What's for lunch? Oh.
You know what that... Come on, man. That segment sucked as much... Thanks a lot, Joe, for the color. We actually ordered... I'm not making this up. We ordered from a... I'm not going to say the name because this is not cool to them. We ordered from a local West Indian place.
Yeah.
Because we wanted jerk chicken for movie night on Friday, and they were out of jerk chicken. Like, I get a call from, like, the Uber's like,
Yeah,
they want
he's
to
like,
talk to
"Sorry,
you."
we
I'm
got there.
Like, what's up? No, we're out of jerk chicken. I'm like, well,
Did they have
like-
pork at least or something? Because you could jerk.
no, but they didn't have. We could. I could have got like curry roti was still good.
I'm down with curry
But
goat.
we were getting fried chicken for my daughter because she doesn't like the jerk chicken. So I was like, but you still have the fried chicken. You still have the fried chicken, so you got chicken, right?
Right.
They're like, yeah,
Poultry prices going through the roof or what?
just don't have the jerk chicken. I'm like, okay. I'm like, I don't understand that. You should always have you've got to have the jerk chicken, especially that's why you want, that's what we wanted. Curry goat.
Dude, I'm down. There's a guy that has a steel,
Disappointed, man.
like almost like a steel drum, but it's a steel barbecue, and it's right outside my house. It's at there's a store there. She has a
Oh yeah.
like a corner store, and the guy rents out like the outside the bar, and it's like $9. You get like the jerk chicken, like
That's the only way.
quarter chicken, the rice and peas, and then some kind of a island coleslaw.
Coleslaw, yeah.
Yeah, island coleslaw. Of course.
Their coleslaw was pretty good, but
Why does Sean speak more patois than Joe? Yeah, well, I mean, it is what it is. I told you where I'm from. Like, I don't know if you guys understand that, man. But anyways, okay. So we got a little bit out. We're having a good time around here, as we always do. Welcome to the late show. All right, so right here, like, bye. Not NSYNC style, but this is not going bye. Let's see if it goes up a little bit higher than where we are right now. There he goes. I was going to say, we're getting some out here in the 60s. I'm breathing a sigh of relief because when this was coming back in, I was like, what have we done? And, now I'm thinking, why don't we get more? But that's the life of a trader, man. I mean, you're going to second guess. Like, we were short here at 114. Right here, actually, here's 114. We weren't loading up, and I just want to show you where we did. I just wasn't on the air when this was happening, or we were short and got stopped out, and then I went long, and we had told you about that trade. But the reason why we went short initially on NVIDIA was because, I had it written down here. I didn't like the China story this morning, and I was like, I'm just waiting for the next shoe to drop. I've actually been having dreams and nightmares about what's going to happen. And again, Philadelphia, what's up? I did have a thought of like, I'm going to be listening here. And the way that I saw the market rip up when he canceled the tariffs for the 90 days or extended it for 90 days there, like, I just want to be sitting in this seat and punch long as basically, not maximum, I don't want to be irresponsible, but go hard there, Obi. No, not max BP for me, no. Max BP for me, and we have a problem, Obi. It's going to be it's going to be max pain. But and I agree with Obi in the background here. He's just saying, like, if I ever hear a story like that, like right now, if NVIDIA starts going, I want to have something on board. So I was always thinking, like, which names? I want to be Tesla. I want to be NVIDIA. I want to be the TQs, Apple's. I mean, pretty much all Mag 7 I think would go, but those are the ones, right? So anything with like direct China exposure, and NVIDIA just is getting ready to go, man. Like this needs to go, I feel like. It doesn't need to do anything, but I feel like it could go, and it should be a decent move up right there if that goes. Palantir just says, I never even heard of China. Like Palantir's at 125 right now. We just take another fill right there. This is a multiple. I don't even know what to do because this trade was a 121 long. Like we had an average price down here, so forget about 121.50. Our average price is more, let's call it 121.75. But right there it goes, man. When moon, how about now? There goes Palantir into the close. I ain't selling this. This is what you call meme crazy. I coined that term when we looked at my boy NVIDIA, and now it's right over here on Palantir. When it just goes and goes and goes, and all the bids, every time it makes a move down, it just gets eaten up again to the upside. This is actually not really going so meme crazy, but it can and it will. And that's probably what just happened. And I wasn't even on it because we were talking about it, NVIDIA. But there it goes, man, 125.20, like whatever. It's going higher into the report. I'm going to offer now 13s. There it is. We got that. So there it is, man. It's $1.50. It's Rip City right now. So is NVIDIA. Let's see where that goes. And this is what's called risk management. All right. Like we're short, we're making money, we're up on it, we're making money, everything's all good. Then it comes right back to 85.20. Probably this last one need not be taken, but the shorts were working, then they weren't. We got stopped out, and then we got stopped out. Right there at roughly, we got stopped out at 40 because it broke those levels. We could have even given it to 50, but it was not giving us that trade. So there goes Micron, our 1L of the day. So we'll get face slapped up on that one, but all good because we go over to NVIDIA, and now we're waiting to see when this thing wants to get going a little bit. Let's just see if the futures can go. That high right now is 66. Just for talk, I was sitting at 114.69er because we always do wait. I mean, I always wait ahead of key numbers. So like 75 is going to be an out. We already sort of zoomed this out already with NVIDIA right into here. So like this level right here is 60. That's right where we're dealing with now. So next levels up are into here. So 115. So let's just see if we can be right on this one. Give us a little bit of love to the market, and I think NVIDIA goes. So yeah, pretty patient with it. Now our stop seems to be even easier now at 114.40. So we don't have to get crushed on this one at all, and just let this thing fall back a little bit. But I think that's a decent spot to get out now. 114.40, 114.35. If we do fail at the top, we don't need to be here, right? We haven't failed this level since 12. The 50 period. So now that I think about this, I'm going to take another out here. Wow, I just punched out. So I'm at 59. So let's see if it goes. But getting out more here as it doesn't look like it wants to go. We could just ride with Palantir. I've been an SMCI over here, Palantir and NVIDIA. So let's see what happens.
So just one note. NVIDIA is over the double top from the overnight last night. It was like 114.20.
Yeah.
And that actually, the reason I pull it up is because when it was on Sean's chart, that ended up being the high in the morning, like that same area. And I'm like, this morning, I forgot to do that. Every single day, I've been checking any stock that's on the plan to trade. If it's on Blue Ocean, were there any obvious levels in the overnight? And there was one on NVIDIA. I'll get to SMCI in a second. There was a couple, oh shoot, I was gonna show, where is it? Palantir HIMS, it wasn't that. Someone was saying the market, yes, we will go down on earnings today, and Nasdaq will have a real red day tomorrow. So, like it would be interesting if Palantir could drive the market lower if they were to have a bad report, because obviously they're the only name. Like Ford's not going to do it. I mean, HIMS, the market's not going to care. We're not moving off of that. It's not that big of a constituent in the index, so it would have to be some kind of a sentiment thing. I think it's been running so much, and defense is going higher and higher. It's getting squeezed. I don't know that it could drag the market to break the win streak. It's a weird one for it to do so. But so I disagree with that. Like I don't think Palantir holds the market in its hands the way that the Mag 7 do for obvious reasons. But it's an interesting theory. SMCI I am in off this. Should be obvious now. The stop is going to be at 32. Well, 93 is this local high, but give it a couple of pennies. I wouldn't put it right there. And then just looking for it to get back into the low. I'm trailing out on IBIT, at least for now. And I've got this NITO, what's this company called? N2 off, NITO, on my mind right now. And the reason for that, and I'm going to show you this, NITO, 1 second. Let me just get it. 1 second. 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 Like it's been, if it breaks VWAP, it's going to be breaking this trend that when you connect it, connects all the way into the pre-market. So the pre-market like 7 a.m. low works all the way through. And if this stock loses VWAP, then I think it breaks underneath that. So I'm going to go pay for locates. I know Sharif was trading this one into the 85-cent level, so it was a good long certainly before. But that's a day-long trend break at the same time that it would be losing the volume-weighted average price. So if it can close underneath there, I'll look to grab the short. Actually, I say this all the time when someone asks me, can I get locates on this? But they don't actually see if we have free ones.
Right.
And we do. Either I already paid for, actually, I probably already paid for it. No, I did pay for it when it was at 85. So I already have them. So if this breaks that trend, which I'm going to hit save next time I draw it, then I'm going to go into the short. It would break the trend at about the same time it breaks underneath the volume-weighted average price. That's NITO over there on the NASDAQ. 500 million shares of volume on this thing today, which is obviously a lot.
Yeah, and I mean, as we talk more about sports and everything like that, I mean, check out that website that we have up there, right there. I mean, click that QR code. If you want top-tier odds and total control, ProfitX brings you peer-to-peer picking, open API access for automation and cost-efficient trading all in one place. It's like day trading your favorite sports. Make offers, match plays, and even manage your risk. I mean, you could have been on there with the Kentucky Derby, I guess, with diverse prediction options. Don't just place picks, exchange them. ProfitX is a smarter, faster way to play. Users, of course, can use the code TraderTV, and you grab that 2% back with better odds and 2% back. You would be foolish not to click said QR code and at least open it up and get a feel for what ProfitX is all about. That is ProfitX. I don't know. I did not watch the Kentucky Derby. Who won? Salutations or something?
I'm sure Raheem was all over it. That's his.
Yeah, was it the Kentucky Derby? There was some sort of a derby going on there this weekend. I was out of the house yesterday at 7 and not back till 9 a.m. and p.m. So it was a wild day yesterday for sure. But hey, man, being busy is what it's all about, especially these days. I like. And then tomorrow, on that note, join Neil and Obi tomorrow morning and all day, as Obi will be filling in for moi tomorrow, but
on Palantir earnings day.
Yes,
of course,
on
you can never know
earnings day. No, you could have known it. I could just looked it up.
Well, no. I'm talking about like.
Oh.
Well, obviously circumstances, right? Like if you have a sport thing to go to, like you can't. It lines. It lines up on the day it lines up on.
I never want to take time off. It's like, but whatever. She's gonna do track. Obviously, we'll go to some breakfast.
What events is she doing?
They don't have that many in her school. She's doing long jump in the 200.
Nice.
Maybe some kind of relay. I don't know. Sovereignty, that's who wound up winning. Yes, thank you so much. Not Singularity or whatever I said. Sovereignty there.
A weird name.
Yeah.
I guess they're all.
So did you know this? Every horse running in this year's race is a descendant of Secretariat.
Well, I mean, I guess that's how they do it. But no, I did not know that. I'm not big into horse racing.
Nor did I, but that was so imagine that stud fee.
Yo, that owner,
anybody wants stud fee.
No, whomever it was, obviously Bank City. Bank.
I mean, it just shows to show you like just how dominating that horse was. And so it's absolutely.
Day trader cut, well, like this 4x100 or 4x400 relay. No self-respecting track athlete prefers the 4x4 to the 4x1.
4x4. The
4x4, like running a 400 is just a level of pain. Like I've never run an 8, so I can't really, people say that that's worse. But running a 400 it's unnecessarily painful.
Oh, okay.
And so like at the end of, and I remember.
coming down.
No, and it's like, you don't want to.
Boo.
The coach is like, you're at the end of the meet. You want to run a 4? We need somebody in the 4x4. And that was my experience. Like my first meet in university, like I wasn't a 4 runner. He's like, well, we need a body. Go in there. And next thing I know, I was running 4s and I hated it because it hurt a lot. And when you're a short sprinter, it's not a heck of a lot of fun. The 4x1, that's my jam. All right, Nito's not really breaking the trend. Day Trader Cut says real men run the 4x4. Each. I kept on running it. I'm not going to pretend that I didn't run it, but I'm also not going to pretend that I didn't hate that thing, except for when I finally figured out what putting in real effort was, which didn't happen until I actually tried to go out hard. I just said, you know what, forget this. I just went out hard for a 150, and I was like, it's the same level of pain whether I put that extra into the start. And once I realized that, it was much more enjoyable. Like, at least you're putting in better times. So Needle's not really giving me the look I want. SMCI starting to come back down. Where's my trail on IBID? Did that not have trailed out already?
The whole market's coming back a little bit. We got Palantir pulling back. We got NVIDIA pulling back. IBID, I guess, pulling back. I don't know. Yeah, so
I'm
here...
just going to punch out because my trail should have hit. So I'm just going to manually punch out. That's a little bit weird. Anyways, we're out of IBID off VWAP. Apologies to my charts. They hate me this afternoon, but trust me, it did go to VWAP. Not making it up, but that just failed underneath 95,000 there. So I'm going to jump out. Maybe we get to the volume weighted average price again. So I'm now only in that SMCI short,
pulling back.
which, you know what? Whoa, we're starting to accelerate here.
Market
I'm
tried
not
to
bidding
go
out.
green.
Let's wait for the low of the day. I jinxed it. That's my dumbass for saying,
Yeah.
you know, when you were like, the market's going to go green, or the market's trying to go green, and then I said, we didn't come all this way not to go green today.
Yeah, you screwed it up. It is.
That was right before we lost the bid. I'll end if my charts crash right after too. So
yeah, see, that's an omen right there.
my bad.
Yeah, so we'll run L there on NVIDIA. I mean, it just came in and boom. Like we're again, you know, it's hard to see like when it's topping out like that. We were getting out. You know, I didn't update how many shares I had or what this story was there. Unfortunately, I should have. But, you know, there it is coming down, so it's an L there. We talked about getting out if it breaks 30, so that's exactly what wound up happening. We were long, we had a pretty good price. I think we were long at 42s or something like that, so getting hit to the end. But we did put back some more 40s there, and before it dropping out just a little bit. But I did want to go short the TQs, so now we're into this one again right now. So I don't want to overtrade, and I feel like we may be doing that. I just want to see about that top. That's 20,200 there. It's been a nice move. Do we want to stay green here today? We got there, and then we faded back out just a little bit. So if we look at the NASDAQ chart, I mean, we could even just change this over to the TQs if we get a little bit of a bigger or exact look on what exactly we're trading. There's $60. We had seen that top. Look, we wanted to go short 59s, right? And so we did do that. But that top of $60, we could still get taken out. Up there. That would be $60.23. So I'm not going to hold this particular short all the way up into there, but we are short right now at this level of 59.26. Now, as we look to see where we're going longer term right now on that, and I'm just thinking like we've been using the 50-period moving average pretty good. Once we broke it, you know, we got out of NVIDIA. We could look for Palantir to get out of that as well. We only have about 20 to 25% left. Wow, Palantir just fell all the way back into there? Okay.
It's doing the same thing.
Yeah, so all right. That's probably a long rate down there on Palantir until we break that level, 124.40. So yeah, that would be something to look at right there. Just fell right back in. So we didn't take it the first time it came to the 200-period moving average. That's because VWAP was so close. And I was sitting here watching this. So it came pretty quickly there. I was thinking about like some of these levels, and then it just fell in, and we didn't take exactly VWAP before letting it rip back to the upside. So we'll have to wait to see. We are going to be short the futures right now, and it's starting to go a little bit here on TQQ. So we'll flip it over. I have way more shares now on the TQs than we do on Palantir. So we'll just trade this. So out a little bit there at 20s as we just fall back in. That low looks like 15. Let's sit on 15 now, see if we can get something. That would be a good trade to be able to get that then back into 59, which was sort of our closing. Not our closing, but that was the price that we were looking at right there on the note earlier was 59 short. So maybe we can get that. That's Friday's closing price in and around 59. So let's see if we can dip down just a little bit more. I'm bidding 15s. I always hate missing by a penny, but whatever. I just went to 17s or 16s there. Hopefully we can fall back in a little bit as this one's starting to get interesting here on the futures downside right now. It doesn't feel like there's any news imminent or anything like that.
No.
Just a little bit of a pullback. I mean, the market's not getting crushed here or anything. We did go green, then we faded. We said that about breaking that. So right now the NASDAQ and the ES, it's the ES that's on watch. I don't know historically, maybe Adair knows, but I don't know like what exact record we're trying to break, but it's 9 straight up days. So I don't know how far that goes back, but pretty far, I'd imagine. So we'll see if that can hold today. Right now it's red, so if we can get back going, that would be nice for everybody looking at that. Yeah, Palantir, I might just take out close to everything. We'll offer some 55s and hopefully grab that. Did we get it? Yes, we did. Okay, and then there goes the futures. So hopefully we get a downside play now on the TQs.
Yeah, good flip on the future because I think we are getting a downside play. I guess we are jinxed because everything else, like Tesla was cruising. Tesla was cruising there to the upside, and then all of a sudden, like heavy bars, man, it just couldn't get all the way into the 285, like that prior high, and now all of a sudden to the downside. HIMS could get to VWAP again. Did we change the vocal on that power?
I thought that was Fabian talking there for a minute. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, that doesn't sound the same as it did before. I like it though. I like it. We're in a power hour. I keep thinking HIMS is gonna do what it did before, which is pull all the way into the volume weighted average price and get a second shot at it. But at this point, I don't want it to curl here. I want it to actually make it to VWAP because it's bounced off VWAP a couple of times. SMCI I'm holding now for low. We canceled a bid. I'm like, look at it drop. I want the low of the day at this point. Or like if I draw if I go to a 1 minute because it's moving down pretty quickly, and then just do that on like a 1 minute chart. Right now, that would take me back to like 3250-ish for a trail.
Oh boy.
So I'm going to trail out of this one. We got this one above VWAP because it wasn't VWAP it was respecting. We were shorting VWAP before, but then it started respecting this level here at 3290. So that's why we're into the short. But I want low of the day here on this, or we break the trend. So yeah, we stayed short this one the whole way, and now all of a sudden we're pulling back in. I still like HIMS off VWAP though. If it gets back there, we're going to try the long.
All right, here we go, man. We're short the market right now, 59.25. So we flipped that up. Let's see if this is the thing right now. Again, trying to cover a little bit. You know, gave some of the day back there with NVIDIA, of course, and then now we'll see if we can make a little bit here, which we've already done. We're out of a third right now of the TQQs. So that's the futures. I trade the TQs just because buying power isn't a thing, and if I'm going to go short, I'd rather play short something, but you guys can go, and I don't even know what the price is anymore of SQQ because we've had that huge move down, now right back up, but $29. You can go the other way. So if you want to go long something, you can take SQQ long, and then that would indicate the same play as this TQQ. Right there. Okay, so Palantir is bouncing back up a little bit. Let's take advantage of that. See if we get something out at 70 again on that. But that's what we're looking at. So Palantir tape is moving. Yeah, that's for sure. NVIDIA tape is moving down, and it's a good thing that we got stopped out of that. No, it's never a good thing we got stopped out. Wrong choice of words, but it's a good thing that we're out of it because it does go right back in there and try to, and almost basically does, break that 200 period. But I was debating getting stopped out at 14 even. So if you do like NVIDIA, this 14 even level topped, you know, so there is something to be said there for that. We are a little bit, I know you're out of IBIT there, but we are interested because tonight there's that dinner that apparently is going to have some crypto flair to it.
1.5 million, baby.
Yeah, exactly. An expensive ticket to take somebody to 3 million. Maybe it's 1.5 million for the pair. I don't know, but maybe something today.
That's more reasonable.
You could see, yeah, much more reasonable. I'd almost do it. But right there, 53. Imagine having that much money that you could just pay $1 million for a dinner. I mean, I don't know, but right there, we're talking about taking Uber Eats over here.
One thing when it's like a charity for billionaires.
That's still, for billionaires, yes.
Well, who else is buying a $1.5 million ticket? It's billionaires only.
There will be people in there that, yeah, you would think so anyways.
Well, look, I guess you could have you have hundreds of millions. If someone's worth like 500 million,
that's close enough for me.
Close enough that you're a billionaire.
Oh, jeez, tired today, boy. I don't know. All right, so that's it.
My charting's tired.
Your charting is done. Okay, I just covered some more. So let's go. Let's start looking at something else. All right, what's GameStop doing? Just to give you guys a flavor, if there's anything in there you guys want us to look at, I'll do that for you. We both would, of course. So GameStop right now. Good bottom. We talked about some of those bottoms on there at $21, and that was kind of like really held there. Like this is never going to forget some of those levels. We had talked about that for a very, very long time, and it's created moves up to 62 and back in again. I think it broke. That was one day. There's 17 or 18. But that looked like it flashed, and then since then, man, we've never even really come too close. The ultimate bottom is going to be like that $20. But if you're buying these dips, man, you've had some good opportunities to make it back. So if you guys are GME game holders or anything like that, watch out. I did see. It's funny. Fabian made that gaming tweet or graphic for me the other day. Then it was the very next day, Take-Two came out and delayed it again. So Take-Two delayed Grand Theft Auto to May of 26 when it was supposed to be fall to late to early, late 25, early 26. Now it's delayed till May. So a year from now. There's the whoosh down. I'm assuming it didn't get to 195, but that moved down into 220. Good day there. And then all the way back, not all the way back, but back nicely up today as we go back and take out those past highs one more time. So big flush down there on Take-Two on Friday. I'm going to act like that wasn't real, but it actually was real. Wow, down there to 195, on that news. Wow, huge move down. But yeah, good job there for Take-Two as we talk more about some of the game consoles and some of the game makers there, as video games are pretty hot right now, including Roblox making those highs, and then Take-Two with that news as well. Shopify. Oh, good, you got that, says Rainbow Keys. I hope you got something there. And then KIDS, another name that people want to ask about. What was that say? Crazy Holdings? What was that? KIDS. Hold on a second. Classover Holdings. Right. I think this was a SPAC, right? I think, or something. So this name just moving around, but not much there. 560 up to, it is moving, but I'd look to see if you could break through that 750 or so area. The one was GPUS. That was one that, there it is. Hyperscale Data. This was a name that Sharif was looking at, I believe. Yeah, up a small 500% today. GPUS trying to go 500. There, huge move. Don't know what the story was there, but it looks like maybe a reverse split or something. I don't know. But GPUS, nice move there. Upside, looking to take out the highs. I'd go long on this, especially now when we're getting closer to the end of the day. Watch out for GPUS right now. I got to go address this again because the futures just made a little bit of a move down. Let me bid some 05s here, see if we can get it. There it is. And as Sharif says, quick as you like, a nice little take there back on the futures. Getting more out at the 200 period moving average. So. Yeah, we'll take it. Yeah, okay. All right.
I'm almost good.
Yeah, okay. I don't know if you needed 20 seconds or not, but that's good. Okay, SMH, Meta, Oracle, Texas Instruments, Nintendo, yeah, NTDOY. We talk about some of the game consoles. Nintendo used to be like a $12 stock or something. Boom. Look at Nintendo's win streak right there on, I guess, a well-received Switch too. Nice move to the upside there, taking down 19 and a half, 20, still making upside moves, $21, $22. And there is that low. I mean, I was talking about 12. See, sometimes it's like, don't tell my wife, I'm supposed to have a really bad memory, but sometimes we're okay. That 12, we were looking at that, then here's the barcode again, as you can see. All right, so we just got longer on Palantir. I just want to talk about this quickly because it just did fall in. So we finally bought some Palantir there off 124. So I don't know. We'll address this, but it's a good little level here. We got some out. Let's take some out if we get some there. It is 29s, 30s, 33s. Let's take some more out. We are pretty heavy now. That came in a little bit more than expected there for me. So I'm not even sure what I was looking at right there with a 124. Oh, it was right down into here, this 50 period. So I don't know. I'm going to get out of this. I'd rather be short right now. I'm getting out of this Palantir right now. So whatever. I'm going to cash out. It looks like it will win, but we don't need to be in this name, Palantir. I'm going to get out of this one.
Yeah, that's the thing. If it doesn't feel right when it...
Yeah, I don't know where that came from. So.
That happened to me on AMD earlier. So I trailed out of SMCI there. It didn't quite get to the low, but it kind of broke the consolidation down around the 32 half zone. I don't know if we're going to pump back up to VWAP. It kind of feels like the market is not strong enough for us to get there. But there was what was that halt name? NTCL. A few people have asked about this NTCL, which has halted. I'm not even.
It was NITO, I think was the name.
Well, that's one of, but NTCL has halted like a bajillion times here today.
That's a lot.
You can count it up. But it's in the midst of a few up halts in a row. So maybe you look, I don't know how you would trade this thing, because you're basically just holding from one halt to the next halt. So right now it's in an up halt. So maybe you're probably trailing it out or something if you're long, and you're waiting for a shot to short it at a key level at VWAP. Again, it cannot stay open, so I think that's a nothing. It's neato.
That stock is neat.
Yeah, it's neat.
That's neato.
Somewhat neat. So I'm going to, at the risk of, there we go. it's still holding on to this trend NITO. So like, I want this to break down. Like the plan is breaks down under VWAP and go short, but it's just resisting temptation right now. Only 50 minutes left, so it's running out of time for it to give me that look.
Wow,
they said we're out of
really?
SMCI, and HIMS doesn't want to get to VWAP. Just trying to be patient. Like HIMS trending back into the volume-weighted average price. It's already done this bounce twice cleanly off the volume-weighted average price. So that's what I want to look to see again. So whether it's whether it's NITO or whether it's I'm probably even saying that wrong.
Oh my God.
Whether it's that or whether it's HIMS, one or the other, we're going to have to wait for it. Unique trading group, yeah, we can talk about Reddit. I'm not in anything right now. Reddit, post-earnings play, obviously, and you saw the drop that it put in. Good news is if you put the old 3-day rule on it, well, we've managed to hold exactly at Friday's low. So that did a bit of a double bottom. It is a double bottom now at 112. So you've got something to sort of anchor yourself to, that if it can hold on to this, we look pretty good on Reddit. But that kind of a setup on the daily, that's the only good thing I can say is that it's held the low again today, because that's not a very good look on the daily chart. And just remember how far like this has gone in both directions. Like the high up at 230, but this was a $40 stock, and that's just April of last year. You go back a year and this thing was only like $40, that's still 3x, and you're underneath the 200 period moving average.
Boy.
So it's a weak close right now on Reddit if it closes here.
Man, just like trust your system, my guy. Like that Palantir, I wasn't thinking about it. It came in, but like I don't put bids out there for no reason. Like it came in right into this level, which is what we bought it, and I was like, nah, thinking too much. Well, I mean, the futures are still going down. Look what Palantir just did. So whatever, man. We'll make some money. Hello, Andre. Right there. But yeah, that just blasted in our studio over here. Oh, I saw. I thought you were making fun of that new talk that we have, but it is going to be called Studio 8. So, I saw that. No, man, we are going through a metamorphosis.
I have a theory about this.
What's that?
So and I have to count them up. It's like there's probably 8 different iterations of the Trader TV studio, starting with that.
I mean, I like that.
Remember that silly we used to sit with a webcam, and then we had these green screens we pull up behind us. That was
green.
1, and then 2 was when we were sitting.
Oh no, I don't think it has that much detail.
You don't. I think it's like this is somehow number 8. That's my guess. That's where the Studio 8 comes from. That's just, also, apparently, I need to disintegrate. I don't know why.
All we do is make money. I think that was Obi sitting there. I actually think.
No, that was me.
Was it?
When Ramin filmed it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so there it goes, man. Daryl, thanks, Daryl. Yeah, nice move up there for Palantir. We just got a 60 fill. Let's go. Like, let's just stay long now. We have nothing else to do other than cash out a little bit more of this. So we just got some 95, down there on TQs. So nice little move down. We'll see if we continue to push. We did fade out of NVIDIA a little bit, and look what that's doing off our 200 period as well. That's finding a bottom down there at 114. So we were thinking initially about going short 114, and it looks like that is the level right there. We short, then we went long, then we lost on the long. Now I'm hoping for the market to collapse because we're short the market, but NVIDIA right now looks like it does want to hold 114, which brings me over to AMD. AMD now up. Get down, TQ. Get down. So just to let you know, man, I have like maybe 10% left of Palantir. I got real aggressive on the out. I did not want that trade. It just turns out that it was great. AMD, again, real nice. Like, I got to create a scanner, and I know I can do this on eSignal. I just have to do it. I have to figure it out. Like, all of this, like, just bounce off the highs. Like that for AMD is a free short.
I know what it was called in Trade Ideas.
Yeah, so anyways, we'll wait to see if we can get something like that. I'm sure there would be, because that's a huge short. Like,
it's like a double, it's just a double top. It's a scanner.
Yeah,
like once a double top is established, then it kind of alerts you every single time. I had one on, I haven't set it up on eSignal. I had one on
unusual gaps.
But I think
I'll figure it out.
There isn't a defaulted one. Where is my eSignal? It doesn't really matter, but like that's the kind of thing like I'd want to put in here. You always have to. There's a bunch of things that they actually have that are defaulted if you happen to be using eSignal. They have a bunch of like default like bullish Harami alongside. Like there's just so many that you can do, and like putting something a little more customizable does make a lot of sense in your market screener. The one that I really use isn't on that page. Like the one I like the most is typically like the hot page, like the hot list. Usually it's the names that we like. It's when something that is like not normal, like you expect Palantir, NVIDIA, TQs. Like I expect all that. It's when something pops up that is not usually on that list. Like if I see IBIT creeping up into the top 10, then that's what gets me, hey, let's go overlook at IBIT. Kids warrants apparently for some reason makes the list here. That doesn't make a heck of a lot of sense, but you never really know. All right, so Nito wants to bounce off the trend line upside, not down. I want this breaking the trend down. Like that to me is just it's a bigger opportunity if it loses the trend line and then flushes down into this level. So I think that's like a 15 to 20% move if it flushes through the volume weighted average price. So that's what I want to look for. Or HIMS. They report after the bell. I'm done with SMCI. I want to look at HIMS, although it doesn't want to get to VWAP on HIMS, which might be a little bit off. VWAP's probably a little bit too low here just because some of that missing data, but it won't be off by much, by like a couple of pennies. So I'm waiting for 41.4 if we can get it. Tony's saying you're adding to a Palantir short. Ooh.
Bad idea.
Ooh. That's interesting. I guess if you were short the 25, you're trying to average up. Like to me, the only time here, what I'm looking for on Nito, did that set up? Yeah, it's kind of like an everyday trend break if you took that short and then like an all-day trend break happened here. But I have a rule about if I have a trend trade, missing it here and then getting it here after it's already made the bounce after your trend break, I try to never take those because if I missed the first time, that's your move. And if the move was only halfway to VWAP, the move was only halfway to VWAP. I don't necessarily love the reload on that kind of a trend break. But that's what I wanted on Nito. And it doesn't seem like it wants to go for me. It's actually going into the long. I got to find something else here. Mayank saying, Berkby, is it Mayank or Mayank? And I only ask that because A, I want to get it right here. Just let me know. If I'm getting it wrong, then I'll assume it's Mayank because I know a Mayank. And that's why I think it might be that way. But Burke B, with Buffett leaving or announcing, we knew he was going to leave eventually. With announcing, that was a great opportunity off essentially five bills on Burke, pretty much. Like, and what's crazy about it is just zoom out on the daily chart. Your last wick was 5 bills and goes right into it. I'm curious to see if you can regain that 50-period moving average. It closed above the 50, and the buying just goes right back into this thing. Like nothing is fundamentally changed. He's still on the board. He'll still be advising, at least for now. They still have a ton of cash with which to deploy, if they haven't deployed any already. So unlike under, yeah, so it's Mayank. Yeah, just want to make sure we get it right.
Yeah, might as well. Else? Reason why I said maybe bad idea to short Palantir. I'm also getting out. I don't disagree that the short might be something. I mean, I'm getting more out right now in front of the 50-period moving average. We're in the money now 50 cents. So even though we panicked out, they're all profits all the way out. I mean, we just only panicked out because I had too many shares at a level that I was really not expecting to come in. So yeah, got out. It just turns to be right. All right. The other stock I want to talk about there was one that we had talked about that we had not talked about in a minute. Disney reports later on this week. I just want to check out Apple quickly. Maybe this is what it was, back to 200, but I don't think so. But anyways, there it is. Disney is, I'm sure Adara tweeted it out last week. Yeah, there it is, Wednesday morning. So we'll find out what Disney wants to do Wednesday morning. I'm actually going to go find our Trader TV Live research page, which is right here on Instagram. Hey, on Instagram, as you can see right here, on Twitter. So we're going to go over and just look at what's going on this week. I mean, it is jam-packed again. So what's up to my favorite ride-hailing service? Of course, as an investor, we like Uber, and that's coming there pre-market. Ooh, still pre-market. Hey, come on, mature up a little bit. Get get the open market, get aftermarket. Disney and Uber going on Wednesday, but tonight we have Palantir. We've already talked about this, HIMS and hers. We'll look to see about trading that again. Race, check out Race. Celsius is another name that there's a lot of traders interested in all the time. Archer Daniel Midland, they're Datadog, so again, another name. We'll watch out for this data, cloud storage. Constellation as well. Wow, okay. So there's AMD. Yeah, like that's huge. Like we don't get NVIDIA for a minute. So that's
SMCI too. I mean,
yeah, Supermicro already reported early.
Well, they gave you the
yeah. So as long as
early preliminary. If there's a surprise there, it's a problem.
Yeah, I mean, if it's anything, it's probably a surprise. The downside, everybody's my wife's favorite EV. Rivian reporting aftermarket tomorrow. And then we go to ARMS. So I know you're into ARMS. That should be interesting. We'll see what happens there. A lot of people looking at Oxy. Upstart, yeah, no, I didn't really skip any. I was just saying, like, Tempest is Lucid. Like, they're all here. I mean, I could talk about all these. Thing about it is Adara's only putting on, major market cap names and or names that have a move to potentially tied to it.
IonQ.
Yeah, where is that one? Right here? No,
it's on Wednesday.
Okay, let me see if I can find. Oh yeah, right there, IonQ. Yeah, Dutch Bros again. We saw Starbucks with a nice move off earnings down. Coinbase, Marathon. I mean, there's a lot this week, man. Like these are a lot of names that a lot of traders are holding in their accounts. So make sure you do stay with us all week long, as we'll have the market recap show going, and it's going to be a big one. As you're not going to see earnings. And Disney was. This is why I called this up. Was Wednesday. So again, nice move back there for Disney, right? Considering everybody was, I don't want to say scared or anything, but nervous about today as far as, the film industry goes, with Donald Trump talking about all of that. I almost typed in film. So Disney recovered, Disney now green on the day. Netflix was down 5 at one point, if not more. And in the beginning of the day, I had mentioned about Netflix that this should not be getting hit the way it was, and I think we were right, as it's right now at highs of day. So let's see if Netflix can continue to win that. Did not buy anything down here, and did actually think that, if this move was going to continue, that I had said like 980, somewhere around here, the 50-period moving average was going to be one to have in consideration. So again, not rocket science. Obviously, I like the space, and so does everybody else, as Netflix goes right back there to the upside. So Apple's interesting a little bit, I think, at these levels. But other than that, there goes the TQs. Huge move down now. I mean, I don't want to say huge, but we're getting close to breaking some levels. So the first position and only position today is a money-making one right there for the TQs, as it's falling back in one more time. So good trade here, 35 cents, 30 cents on Palantir. But we've already talked, there it goes. Let's go. Let's go, Obi. Let's go, everybody. Let's go, Neil. Let's go, everybody that's trading right now into position, because that market just went down and we just got a nice fill, man. Nice. You got to be sitting there. 82s there on that fill. Let's see if the orders want to crack. That might have just been a little bit of a low break there. So I don't, we have the news in our ear, Adara. I almost said Reddit. I saw Reddit's, you just talked about it. I almost said Reddit's getting ready for us, but it's Adara. If there's anything coming through,
well, Reddit is.
Yeah, we don't want to forget it. But.
Not to jinx it, but Reddit could flat bottom break. Now, that's not on my radar, but if you happen to be looking at that chart as the futures are rolling over, yeah, it's at a pretty key level. It's above VWAP though. Like I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole. I think it's a weekday for Reddit. No questions asked. But Nito or HIMS is not really moving. It's just weird. Like I do not want the long up here on HIMS at all. Like there's a part of me that says, why not short the head and shoulders play? But Nito is like pennies away from breaking down at any second now. And SMCI, which I would reshort SMCI, I would reshort it. I don't like it right at that low of the day. Like it's exactly where it was when we got out of it like 15 minutes ago. Like it's moved 5 cents up, 7 cents, 6 or 7 cents up, 5 cents down, but it's basically at the same price. So it's not doing much of anything. So I feel like the trade next needs to be somewhere else for me. But let's go to Adara at the desk.
The only news I'm really seeing here in this market came out a couple of minutes ago, and it doesn't really seem to be moving the sectors impacted. Washington Post reporting, again, a couple of minutes ago here, that Donald Trump is going to be signing an executive order to encourage domestic drug manufacturing. Again, I'm not seeing much of a move in these pharma names. I'm not seeing any other catalysts right now either. Back to you.
Okay, and local yokel, any thoughts on Omex, Odyssey, Marine? This is a rando. Look, I don't know this one. Obviously, you're not going to know every single dollar stock. These guys.
How many days were you off last week? I just remember this. I just remember this.
You remember Omex?
Yeah, because I remember it was Odyssey. There was. Yeah, it's pretty.
Well, it was okay these days.
Yeah, so it was a few days there. We must have passed your mind.
No, I only missed one day.
Yeah,
you know what?
that's
Maybe.
fine.
Oh, no, I do. This is the one that had the clean dollar bounce.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I do.
I think you were trading it, to be honest with you.
No, I do remember Omex. No, I don't think I actually got into this. There was another one that I did get into. But okay, here's the good. It's above $1. The bad news is when you zoom out. No, the bad news is when you zoom out. Like, look at this massive gap fill down, and look where it rejected. $1.84 will have rejected that again, and it's on the downside of the trend. So if you're not long in the $1 on the $1 bounce today, like this is kind of in that grind down, day one, first resistance turned into a short. So it doesn't necessarily look great on the trend trade. Maybe you've got the dollar to work off of. I always like that dollar. If a stock retests and holds $1, I think you want to wait till it proves it can make a higher low. Otherwise, just look for that dollar defend, right? Like one of these, they're trying to stay listed a lot of times, holding above the dollar, so it gets defended. When they lose the defense, you're in trouble, and it's probably headed back to like 60, 70 cents, something along those lines. Kids hit smooth, Tony. See that one, like kids I remember, like really, yeah, kids we remember from, I easily remember this one from last week. This was a potential breakout today on kids. And it looks like if you took that breakout now, well, it can't hold above $8. But it still needs to hold above 8. Not much has changed on kids. Local Yoka, you're in on the $1 level, perfect. Because that's, I think, the only level that you could work off of. I'm just waiting for Nito to do something. Like, how are you 550 million shares? It's like put up or shut up. Day-long trend trying to break now, and all it's doing is holding. It's not moving much at all. Pedro, what does that mean? Guys, Palantir will be up or down. OFC, of course. Palantir will be up or down. Yeah, of course it will. I think the degree is by how much it will be up or down. That's what you've got.
The implied move is 14%.
The implied move is 14%. You're at an all-time high, so that's meaningless to the upside unless you have some Fibonacci or whatever. It's meaningless to the upside. But if you go 14% down from here, like you're essentially talking like 10. Like you're only back into 108, right? So, like if it extends down, you have some like just from a dip buy trading perspective, the down move would be insane because you could come back in and have like just a monster gap that you're working with. Upside, it doesn't really matter. You know,
yeah, I mean,
you're at all-time highs. If it goes 14% up, there's no levels up there, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, the only level is 150. That's what you should be watching out for tomorrow.
Yeah, psychologically.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll wait to see.
Unless
I'm not selling any.
Unless there's like a round market cap number. Found those the first time you get to a big round market cap number, sometimes that turns into resistance.
But I mean everything. I don't want to say everything. What's up to Maddie there? Saying everything's been going down after earnings.
Not true. Microsoft.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Microsoft held.
The only thing is Palantir is a completely separate beast than all of these stocks. Palantir is not, you know, this is early days still for Palantir, even though it's a 25-year-old company. Their PE is 238. So their current PE is 654. So if you are said value investor, well, you've missed the boat on Palantir this whole way up. So to say that like something may change today, tonight, I don't know. But you know, obviously, I like the stock here. It's done real well in the portfolio. So I'm gonna hold on to it, but I do see some value in, sorry, I'm still on the TQs. That was a nice move down, by the way. We got some 70s there. That was real nice. I still do see some value here in trimming. Like whenever you get up here and it's now earnings day, thing is, let's just say you have 1,000 shares, okay? You have 1,000 shares in your portfolio of Palantir and you want to take off 100 right now, it's fine. Even if this thing rips up 20%, still got 900 shares and you still got like 90% of your maybe we'll just talk in percentages. Like you still got 90% of your position, even if you have 10 shares, you know, like whatever you have, it's almost a risk-free. And I was talking about this with some guys at hockey, and it's kind of like, often I'll sit here and talk about different strategies that I think are smart, but then don't do them myself. Like, you know, like that makes sense to get some out there, but yeah, I probably won't get any out. But I think it makes a little bit of sense, which is why I don't manage other people's money. I just make a disgrace of my own. So you got to be very, very careful about what you're doing here. You know, it's just kind of like when you look up Google and I sit here and say like it's a pretty decent spot percentage of my portfolio, and then I see it double top, like triple top, quadruple top, like all these things right into here, and I just ho-hum this. You know, like once it breaks back down below, in and around here, is when I should be exiting for sure, at least at 10% or something. You're not part of this, but I don't do that, right? So we'll have to wait to see. I mean, and I think that it also, if I get out every time, it's kind of like trading here. I mean, I'm obviously pretty disciplined in what we're doing trading-wise, but if you get out, you know, when Palantir looks bad, which it's looked many times. I mean, this was just 3 weeks ago. This thing was $68. It's up 100% in 3 weeks. You know, so you got, or let's call it 80% in 3 weeks. So you're going to have to figure that out, whether or not you believe this has room to run. So I believe the army will be out tomorrow. And if that's the case, then it is run city on Palantir. If you guys remember the last kind of stock that people really got excited about and still are, right? I mean, Tesla didn't have the greatest report, and it skyrocketed. So let's wait to see.
It was just bad.
Right, yeah.
Fundamentally.
Yeah, exactly. And we had that nice move up. So, yeah, we'll figure it out. You can always, you know, in and out. Do I want to get in? Do I want to get out? Whatever. But for me, I'm going to stay in my belief that Palantir is a forever story. So
you just have to determine that. Like I even said last week, I was like, oh, I'm going to sell some ARM shares that I bought. I was like, oh, and you were off on Friday, and I had even convinced myself that I was going to do it in the morning show. I'm like, oh,
they have earnings coming.
I'm like, I'm going to do it before earnings. I'm going to do it right. I'm going to do it right now after 11 o'clock, and then I didn't.
Oh, okay.
Because
it's up today.
I reminded myself that I at no point have I ever been into what I wanted to consider a full position in my long term. So it's like, why would I sell it if I never even got to a full position on it in the long term, and I want it to be a long term holding? Doesn't make any sense. I'm like, if I was over 40 or 50% of what I want to be in, I think I'd more likely do it. By the way, I got into Nito, whatever. It closed underneath the trend line, so I'm in. I'm going to give it to the prior bar high is 65, so I give it to that. Just that simple. There's your prior bar high. That's my out. I'm going to get some bids underneath VWAP as we speak. So kind of a binary style trade. Whoops, that's the wrong penny. That's the thing. It's easy to typo. We'll get underneath VWAP. If it breaks 60, we start to get out. But it's just one of those binary. If it does a day-long trend break, I generally am going to like it almost all the time, especially when it connects with the pre-market as well. So that's the new thing I'm into. I don't think we'll get another shot at SMCI the way that it's going. And HIMS doesn't seem to want to get to the volume-weighted average price. There's nothing really on the early look imbalances that'll stand out for anybody here. Outside of, and we saw this the other day, NCLH is again exactly 2.5 million shares to sell. So we saw this last week, but it was both CCL and NCLH that were big sells early and then nothing at 350 when the imbalances came out. Essentially got paired off before they could come out. So I'd say a nothing burger there. NU's out there for 1.8, BAC 1.5 million to the buy side, but no big names on the early look for the imbalance locator. So the only new position is Nito or Nito. Every time I say Nito, I'm like, Gort, Klaatu, Barada, Nikto. The words that saved the entirety of the earth. That every sci-fi nerd has memorized. And only sci-fi nerds. There's no chance you could.
No, I have zero idea.
It's an old school.
But the only thing I know that saved half the earth.
Day of the world.
You know, we had the Marvel, the snap right there. Snap.
It's kind of dumb when you think about it. Like, why did he have to? It's like the most powerful. Why do you have to snap fingers? Like,
it's just so easy.
He doesn't have to do anything. He just thinks it.
Oh,
really.
I see.
Like, he doesn't actually have to snap his fingers.
Snapping is more
I guess it's just for.
Yeah, show.
Yeah, it's just all for the show.
Scotty Beats. Someone just said you have to tag me. If there's something you want to ask me or whatever, you have to tag the full name. I didn't see. You said something about I was short all day. I don't know. The only thing that I'm short now, the only thing I've been short, like I was short Micron right there, but we were able to get out of it. NVIDIA, I was short, then I was long, and that's kind of been flat. I don't know. The only thing that I'm short right now is the Qs. And that's the only thing I've been short pretty much with any conviction. Our NVIDIA, we weren't short for that long, and Micron, we actually made money on and got back in and out of that one. So if there's anything else you want to talk about, what about Boeing? Boeing right now, let's have a quick look to see what that's doing. Again, 187. I mean, I like the even number of 200 right there. Look at the bounce off VWAP right here, 186, 186, 186.50 right now. Apparently volume pushing on Target right now. Target's only $94, eh? Like this stock's been getting hit too. Yeah, there goes Target. Wow, okay. I wonder what the price target might have been on this one, because this is starting to break lower right now on Target. Is the whole retail sector getting hit a little bit here today? No, Walmart's at a hunch, so that's good. Costco, we can have a look there as well. It looks like this may just be a Target situation. Costco up and away right there. So it looks like Target right now. We don't have them here in Canada, unfortunately. They were here for a minute. It saved us a lot, saved me a lot of money by them leaving, but again, I like Target. I thought I do. I mean, whenever people visit the States, people love going to Target. That's the talk here in Canada anyways. But yeah. Nice move down there for TGT. And again, just looks bad. This is one of those things where we had looked at, it wasn't Reddit. There was another stock that was barcoded like this earlier today. Wendy's. I'll have to have a look to see what that's doing. But this was a name right here, Target, that's kind of going the other way. So you almost got into a great short opportunity, 98, 99 bucks. But now we are falling even lower there on Target.
And you know what? If you want to stay on target with your trading, then e-signal is for you. We talked about it already in several instances, talking about indicators like double, triple tops, the ability to back test, forward test, live, reliable data, hook up to your broker. You know the best part about all this? It's still free for the first month, everybody. Like it's not, this kind of promotion is probably not going to last forever. You try it for free. You use whatever indicator that you want to try out. You back test your strategies. You use tick replay if you're into that. See how that open went, when you can slow it back down and maybe refine your executions. Hook up the API if you want automated access to automate your trades. Go ahead and do that. The key thing here is that it's got everything you need. It's an entitlement-based platform, so you can trade pretty much every equity or instrument that you could want. And it's the ability to do it in the way that best fits your trading style. So check it out, 1 month free. Scan the QR code in front of you. It's all in one place, and eSignal has the goods for you. So good luck. And you'll also be able to get the imbalance locator, which we show for free every single day. That's something you can link up as well. Of course, it's entitlement-based, so it's something you have to add on like anything else. But hey, try it out. eSignal is absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for Ben Fishing. You like Target too. They got rid of the woke-ish, go woke, go broke. There's a lot of names that fell into that. The sentiment, and that's starting to reverse. You saw Disney. Well, maybe Disney hasn't gotten away from it. Target certainly. I think the other side of that is when the sentiment shifts on Tesla. Right? Like that's the other side of Tesla and this squeeze play is load. If you start breaking back out, like people are not talking as much. I mean, at least I think they are. The tariffs a bit more of the talk than it is Elon and Doge, at least from what I'm hearing. And there's been a little bit less on his plate. He's talking about stepping down and taking less time and sort of taking more time with Tesla and less time with the government responsibilities that he has. That bodes well, I think, for Tesla and its sentiment. And it's just coiling up right now. I mean, we're going to probably find out that somebody's been selling Tesla shares in the 290s. Like that report is going to come out and we'll be like, yeah, remember when it was just sitting here at 295? And then whenever they're done, boom, we start blowing it out to the upside on TSLA. So I think that's the other side of the equation. Sentiment matters just as much as anything else. So hopefully Nito does something. What the HIMS just made a bit of a right turn here back into the downside. So HIMS, you know what's going on? It might just be 43 we can't get past on HIMS. I keep thinking we're going to dip into VWAP. There's nothing out here on the daily chart, but it's just that high from last week that it seems like HIMS is running out of steam out in front of. They report right after the bell, like 5 minutes after the bell, we get both them and Palantir. My guess is HIMS HIMS might move more than Palantir, but that's not saying much. It's got the big, massive short float. Like, what's Palantir? It's like 2%.
Yeah, it's like, 3 or 4%.
3 or 4, yeah.
Yeah, we had looked at it, and then we looked at
HIMS is much bigger.
PBAI. All right, so Starbucks down to 3%. Yeah, so people talking about Target losing shareholders, losing customers to Walmart and so on and so forth. So I believe that's been the case for a minute. So that would make sense for Target. Starbucks, again, another iconic American brand getting hit lately, but it tried to recover a little bit. I still like the story down here. So I think getting close to maybe buying some Starbucks in and around the $80 mark. I think that's a decent area. Think about some Starbucks. I want to look at AMD tomorrow for sure ahead of earnings. We'll see if that wants to do some movements here. We do have Mark Carney coming to deal with President Trump tomorrow. So tomorrow should be an exciting day. Again, I'm not going to be here. You'll have Obi, which is going to be great for everybody. And that should be interesting to hear what happens tomorrow, watching out for energy, watching out for some more movements on the futures. And I think Canada can move the needle. I think if there was some kind of positivity there, I think the Canada deal wouldn't be the one that everyone's looking for, but at least it would show some push and pull by the administration, which I think is really good. So there's gonna be individual names for sure that start to rally off of that. VCLT, so this is like the hot list, what's sort of popping off: NVIDIA, Palantir, Ford. So these are all the ones that are reporting tonight: Ford, Palantir, and HIMS. So all getting a little bit of love right now. Tesla, we can find out maybe what that stock, these aren't linked, so I have to keep on switching. Tesla pretty flat. You guys know that we've nailed Tesla at the close a couple of times, but it's not really getting ready for that. If we were still down here at 280, then I would say like a break right there of 281 probably gets going, but it's gonna have to fall into 281, and I don't know if we like that. Right, NU, that's probably not doing anything, just some size. Yeah, okay, so that's not really doing.
It was there on Friday and it did nothing as well. So
52-week lows there for OGN. Wow, okay, OGN there, and we see nothing else really. There's OGN again. I'm trying to see if there's anything else sparking right now. Oh, Lucid, that's right. Lucid has earnings in a couple of days. We had talked about Rivian there with Rivian Randy, who's not in today, but Rivian's had a great move, right? I mean, that move up was nice from that bottom of 1150 or 11. It looks like we
who's making a move?
1050. Lucid?
DoorDash.
Yeah, Instacart had a decent report there.
Yeah, DoorDash has been on a nice tear. Like, how many stocks have gotten all the way back to their highs? Like, Palantir gets there. Microsoft is trying to get there. Weirdly enough, someone was asking me about GE. GE's there at fresh highs. But this is another one. They report tomorrow morning, or tomorrow, let's just say. I'd have to double check and go back to it. Just go to Trader TV Research, and you can always find that link from Adara that's there. But DoorDash, 6 days in a row to the upside. This looks like it's poised to make a run at that high. Like, that's the thing. We talk about this, and we'll probably even mention this with Michael tonight. We have Michael Noss on in the aftermarket show, sort of after we get those Palantir earnings, after the HIMS earnings. We'll talk about the whole don't sell things when they get to the all-time high. Usually you want to be buying. And historically, the stats say that's true. I think for a lot of people, and I know I've fallen into this camp before, it feels like you can take some profit when you're up a bunch. Oh, I got to move my mic back? Like this? Like that? Oh, on the table. Okay. My mic's making that noise, apparently, so hopefully that fixes it. So the only thing I've been in since our trade in SMCI is NITO, which it broke trend. I mean, it went down in the money, but that wasn't nearly enough, and I'm just going to get out of a break. I have my stop at 65, so we took our shot at it. I wanted to pull back into here, get half out there, and then the other half into 52 would be the plan of action. But if it stops out at 65, then unfortunately it will take the L on that one. You could make the argument that I could have just jumped right back into the short on SMCI, which did eventually get to the low of the day. And for whatever reason, now remember, SMCI came out with like preliminary before earnings numbers that tanked the stock, and it's been rebounding since then. So when they report later this week, if we get anywhere near, and what I hope we do from a trading standpoint, if we get anywhere near where it dropped off, that 50-period moving average before their actual report, I think it's a short. But just keep in mind, when a company usually comes out and gives you the bad news before the earnings, you don't want there to be anything new. It's like everything should, like anything that you hear on the call, anything you get in the numbers, shouldn't be any negative surprises. Because if there are, then that's a world of pain, I think, for SMCI. And we've seen it go down before. So that's one thing I don't usually pay too much attention to earnings calls if I don't own shares of the company. Frankly, I just don't care. To the extent that you can, if you're going to trade it, you can always just read our watch list, read up on it in the morning. But SMCI, that's one that I think from a trading standpoint, you want to make sure there's nothing new that's anything crazy or scary out of them. Because when you sandbag it or you get all those nasty news out there, then you got to be very, very careful that they make sure that it's all out. So Nito, I don't know if it's going to do much. We have about 4 minutes to go until we get the imbalances. So I don't think we'll be in anything new unless something crazy spikes. Not a heck of a lot that I'm seeing on this locator. Pfizer just popped in for 2.5 million shares to the sell side. But this reminds me, of course, as like when you hear yourself talking in here, it's distinctly different. You guys, I know you guys probably can't tell the difference, but I know I can tell the difference. And one of the reasons is like it is completely empty behind me. And there's no traders anymore, which you guys know. And now we have rows that are coming out here. And it's all for this Studio 8 transformation that's going to be happening, everybody. And it's really, yeah, it looks dramatic, like we're blowing everything away. But it's not just so it can look cooler, which it will. It's not so like it'll sound cooler, which it will. It's so that the experience for the viewer is going to be much better. It's going to be a much more it's a much more conversational sort of atmosphere that we're going to try and build, where it's not jumping from the news desk to us and then jumping from us to the midday. It'll be a little bit better of a flow and just something that's we've been building towards. It's always trying to get bigger and better. So that's what Studio 8 is going to be all about. So you will see all of this changing in the near future.
What's up, everybody? Yeah, good look there. We are very, very proud and excited to do. Let me get some water here, try to wake up. All right, I mean, this market right now, how about we try to get this? What's up, Ozan? You know, what's up, everybody? I won't be going to no clubs tonight, that's for sure. Although I'm at a hockey rink again until 9:30 tonight, so we'll see what sleep looks like tomorrow. But there it is, boom. Bye-bye futures. So there it is, man. If you guys are really trading today like we are, then we go props up to you guys because there it goes, man. There is the futures. It's a nice move down. So yeah, bye-bye for us. And this is the trade that we've had all afternoon. Oh, as Palantir was cranking lower, we got out of that one. So no L's there. But lots of dubs here. So we only have a couple more minutes, as Neil had said, until these imbalances. But yeah, very, very profitable day trading there today. What's up, Sir Poppy Paper Hands? And everybody else there. Yeah, whatever it is. Yeah, shout out to my wife right there. All right, so ARM, Tesla, Palantir, Coinbase. Yeah, all fading out just a little bit. I wonder... on taking traders stay late to another level. Yeah, you're damn right about that, gonzo trader. But yeah, we are we're moving around right now. So we just got some out there at VWAP. I mean, we were sitting there, we got a few fills, then we punched out ourselves a little bit as well there. So we have about a quarter left on this position. Let's see if it wants to bleed to the downside. It's going to be a big one. There for us on the NASDAQ. And then Neil's already highlighted a little bit here as well that we are going to wait to see in just a minute and a half. I'm just going to edit this so we only see the live ones. And then right now, so these are all from 9:30. At 3:50, these will all change and we'll get the updated imbalances. So let's just hold off there and we'll wait for that for a couple more minutes. Qualcomm, ARM, Tesla, ARM. So ARM, again, another play here. We've been looking at some names in the space. Yeah, so everything's pulling back a little bit here. ARM back into 122. It is a little, that's like that would be good because you gap fill into 122 there in the middle of the day. So that hold looks to be pretty good, but we only have now a minute left. Obviously, these imbalances will send this market one way or the other. And it looks like, unfortunately, unless we do get that rally, and again, I have no idea. It was 9 straight up days in the S&P 500. Looks like that will be over right there, only being down now 0.48. So, yeah, HIMS should be good. I mean, do I think, so what's up, Jeff Wolf? Do I think Palantir gets all-time highs tomorrow? I mean, it got it today. So, yeah, I mean, I think it probably does. But I can't predict that report.
Technically,
I mean,
the all-time high it's still the 125, not what got put in overnight last night. It got to 126.
Oh, overnight?
Because that doesn't count. So technically, it's actually not that far away. Like, it could get there and then wick it, and we saw this with Reddit. Like, Reddit blew it out to the upside and then opened the next day down.
Even if, yeah, I mean, even if...
What does
here
it
we
mean?
go, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, here we go. The imbalances are out.
Yeah, okay, so the market is dancing around a little bit. I don't know what it is. I'm gonna take out a little bit more here on the futures. But here it is right here.
NVIDIA is 1 million.
Yeah, so these must be some action there, index action or something, or delisting or something. But then NVIDIA downside as well, upside, sorry, all buys. Right now, Walmart a buy. Anything else you guys want to look at? Oh, there's iBit to end the day, 94.4. iBit's actually been coming in a little bit. The only big one of any concern there would be iBit. But of course, you know,
Dr. Pepper.
everything's all good, man. We're 70 cents in the money. Here comes the NASDAQ. Just bring it, man. I think we'll just sit here into the close, see what happens with the NASDAQ. Adair gives us those numbers, and there it is right there. NASDAQ 200 to buy. That's it. 200 million to buy. So we'll see if we get some more downside plays here for the NASDAQ. It looks like it may turn out to be right. So good levels there. We're still short. I don't think we'll get the dollar club. We don't need to. Let's just start bidding some more out. I'll bid out some 64s here. See, there it is. So see if we get some more fills at VWAP. And then if there is a chance to move down, then, you know, 58.40 looks pretty good. Let's put some bids there. 58.40, and we'll see if we get those.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. So look, KDP is actually curing Dr. Pepper. I don't know why it didn't immediately come to mind, but 3 million is 20% of the day's volume. So that is actually pretty significant on KDP. It is moving up. The general play that I like a little bit better, if there isn't an index action and there's none that I'm aware of on this stock, is the reverse. So it's a buy right now with a bunch paired off. So 12 million already paired. It'd be before 355 or just before 355 to look for a short off of either the high of the day. At this moment, it would look like a 34.6, something along those lines on KDP, Keurig Dr. Pepper. So it's the only significant imbalance by size when it came out, and it's a NASDAQ one. So it's still in the pocket. There's about 3 minutes to go, and it's not that it's a crystal ball. Oh, at 355 is when it's going to pair off. It's just that a lot of large imbalances or big orders come into the imbalance or come to offset the imbalance in that time right before 355. So it's a good trade if you can find something which is sizable and then you look for a reversal off any kind of a key level. So that's something that I want to pay attention to here on KDP. It doesn't mean it's going to flush. It's actually already starting to pull back in. So this trade is, you want it to show strength going into the close or going into 55, not already be pulling back, which it already is. So unfortunately, it might not get there for sure. ST, do you suggest a short Netflix now? I don't like Netflix short ever, but you mean like literally right now with 4 minutes, with like 5 minutes to go till the end of the day? If that's your cup of tea, I would never take anything this late. If you're talking about it on the daily, I'm sure there's people that are going to say the first break of trend on Netflix is going to be a pullback. I don't necessarily disagree with that, but there's a decent chance you already had a bit of that move come in today, and then you've already come back, and we're going to close relatively well here on Netflix. Like, we're above the open on Friday, right? Like, and holding on to that level. It's about 11.30 is the key price level, that if it loses that, then you're back into a bit of a gap fill. But it held the bull flag the entirety of the day. Even with this market pullback, it's still holding the bull flag and looking pretty good. So, I mean, I hold it. I haven't sold anything in the long term, although I did consider it and then reminded myself that I didn't want to sell at a fresh high.
Yeah, every time I consider selling something, I just remind myself I'm forever long right there. We did get those TQs to the downside. So here we go. I don't know what Erie Pages and Scotty Beats are talking about. But okay, here we go. So TQs, I mean, there it is, man. Nice downside play right there. we do have to talk quickly. We are on a trading floor here, obviously. There it goes. Nice move on TQs. Yeah, buddy. There it is, man. There's the dollar club. We'll fire that off right now for that trade as bye-bye. There goes the futures. There's another dollar. Every trade we've been in today has been real nice. But traders funded by Trade the Pool have been cashing out big. We're talking 5,300. All right, 15.2, 36K, and 29.9 on one trade. Here's how it works. You pay a one-time evaluation fee starting at just $47. That's right. That's your total risk. Your trade real shares, not CFDs, using up to $200,000 in company capital. You'll also keep 70% of the profits. That's a great take there. No margin calls, no account blowups. Scan Trade the Pool's QR code and also get 10% off and start your journey today. It's available right there, right now. Trade the Pool. We want to thank them for continuously sponsoring our segments. So thank you to Trade the Pool right there. And again, we are on a trading floor right here, and we just Sam Bankman-Fried on that trade there. These are our top 10 traders at Real Trading from Friday. Pretty light, man. NASDAQ, 8,400 on NASDAQ and CME, 5,700 on Amex and NASDAQ. NASDAQ again, all the way to the downside there. And then including, look at this, someone in Europe, Amsterdam, Brussels, Copenhagen, Helsinki, like basically every single exchange. So I'd say that's probably an algo trading rate there on the different European exchanges, which is completely fine. We do have API access there.
And there's a program right now. I think half of the European markets are free entitlements at Real Trading right now.
Nice, good, I like that.
Which is exactly the time that you want to be trying them out, when you don't have to pay for the entitlement. It's essentially you get the data for free. And data costs a lot these days.
Yes.
To even see the level 2 on a lot of these names and a lot of these markets is very expensive compared to when we were trading. When we started out trading, it was like dirt cheap. Like no trader would ever pay more than like a bill, I think, in entitlements. Now you can pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars a month on just the entitlement fee. So look, KDP, nothing doing, unfortunately. The flip trade doesn't happen there. I just saw GPUS, and some people were talking about it. Not really doing a heck of a lot either. HIMS is going to be after the bell, I think same time as Palantir. And it's up 2.5%, but they've been selling at into that 43 level. So that's going to be a big level to watch regardless of what the print is. And fundamentals matter only so much. This is a 30-something% short float. And that's a big, big deal and probably going to only require like a little bit of good news for HIMS. The big one's Palantir. I think for the traders out there, obviously that's going to be the bigger name, but HIMS, don't sleep on that. Great trade in the futures. Good luck, obviously, track day tomorrow. But, well, to Gia.
Supposed to be rainy.
We'll see how it goes. I love track day. It's always a heck of a lot of fun.
Yeah, it should be fun.
Yeah, it's always a lot of fun. I'm going to get up to the desk. Yeah, and don't forget, we got Michael Noss. If you have any questions for Michael Noss, let us know, because he's been talking a lot about Mr. Buffett, but he also does like some of the crypto and gold plays, which we did not discuss. And there was that K-Nut that I wanted to ask him.
Yeah, I mean, he was shorting gold last Monday. I just want to see.
Is it K-Nut? Yeah. Anyway,
what, the inverse gold ETF or something like that?
K-N-O-S.
K-N-O-S. Oh, is that Michael Noss's symbol?
Yeah, that's the one. I'm getting this right.
I don't remember. What, today, this morning?
It was it was last week.
Oh, then I don't know.
Anyways, I'll double check it. There's a few names you talked about last week we didn't get a chance to follow up on. But I'll see you guys in a couple of minutes.
Yeah. All right, so here we go, man. This is, been a really good trade there on the futures to end the day. So, we shorted it right there. And I actually tweeted it out as well. I said, like, as soon as we had that clean 50-period break, it actually breaks right there as well. So that would have been a losing trade, taking it into there. But, heading into the end of the day, it's a little bit of a better take, especially trading the futures. You do get chopped up all the time. I mean, it's pretty choppy. Straight line basically up, and then now multiple straight lines down. I mean, if we take away, see where we're short right there? If we take away how this looks, then you just go like here, take away partial fills, and then you could see like, there it is. There's the break, and here's the straight fire in the booth to the downside. So that was a good one there. We'll wait. We can watch out to see if there's anything happening at the close on some of these plays right there. We had written down on our sticky note earlier today that we wanted, which is right here, Palantir long 123. So this can change. Like we'll change. Like our TQQs, we didn't short 59s when it was there. Apple, we tried to get short 205, and then Nvidia 114 short, which we were in. You know, we were in all of those trades. So we just got out of them. There's our 114 short on Palantir. Once that broke that recent high, we got out. Then we flipped, or sorry, on Nvidia. Then we flipped long. Nvidia is actually a pretty big flush down for me today. We did not trade Nvidia that positively. Maybe I'll just hang out here and hold some of these TQs into the after hours, see what winds up happening there. But we do only have 30 seconds left until that bell is rung, and now only 20 seconds left. So again, thanks so much for everything. We'll just continue watching this. MU was downside today for me. That's another trade that we wound up losing on. Palantir was the huge long with only 10 seconds left right now. There's the Palantir long there, and there's the reload, and there's the reload again. All right, Adair, man, only 4 seconds left. 3, 2, 1. All right, congratulations to everybody that was trading today and wound up green. A little bit of a mixed day. The market did turn green, but then goes out, not on the lows, but maybe the lows actually. The NASDAQ was down about 1% early, right? So goes out definitely on the afternoon lows. We actually wind up breaking that 1130 level right there and closing underneath VWAP. So the bears win today. All right, we'll wait, man. Palantir is going to be coming out momentarily. So will HIMS. So will Ford. So, I mean, if they're ready, Andre, I can throw them over because, yeah, we got the thumbs up. Okay, you've all been waiting for it. It's going to be Palantir coming through soon. So we'll get that. We'll get HIMS and hers. Thanks to Darren, Neil, Brendo, Sharif, Joe, Andre, Fabian, everybody that had anything to do with Mark, some guy named Ryan today as well. All of those guys, I want to thank everybody for such a good day. And thank you to Bears vs. Bulls for all the support that you continue to give us and everybody in the chat. If anybody has questions, message me and I'll see you guys on Wednesday. So until then, ciao for me and over to the desk with the big guys.
Thank you very much there, Sean. Your market recap show is on. And of course, we got Palantir lined up. They're after the bell, expecting 405. We should see them. HIMS and hers is going to be a big name to watch as well. We've got Ford in anticipation. There is Vertex. VRTX, which is a bit of a smaller name, but you know, we'll cover pretty much anything that is moving. VRTX. Whoops. Yeah, I don't know why. You know what? Not now. Don't make me have to restart this. Yeah, I'll have to restart my charts there. Thankfully, Palantir is not for a couple of minutes, and we'll have to wait around for that. But overall, Adara, the big mover during the day started out everyone thinking Netflix and Disney, and to the downside because of the potential tariffs, and got walked back a little bit with no concrete details, and they recovered pretty much the entirety of the way. That story seems like a bit of a nothing burger for now. It's on to Palantir, the next market mover.
Yeah, here are Vertex earnings. They missed on both fronts. Earnings of $4.06 per share versus estimates of $4.32. Sales $2.77 billion versus $2.85 billion expected. Yeah, right now here I'm showing their guidance. They're doing current fiscal year 2025 versus fiscal year 2025, the way they put it, so I can't really tell what's supposed to be the new guidance or the old guidance, but there's not a lot of difference here. Looks like most things are unchanged. It actually looks like they tightened their revenue guide to the upside. So they actually raised the lower end of their revenue guide. So not a bad look here for VRTX, but again, double miss on these numbers. And yes, as I just alluded to, they did raise their guidance here for fiscal 2025, at least the lower end. So from $11.75 billion to $12 billion, to $11.85 billion to $12 billion. The estimate was $11.97 billion, so they still mostly missed the estimate. But again, they did lower, they raised the lower end of their guidance, which very few companies are doing right now, especially with tariffs. So interesting look here for VRTX. Now we're looking for HIMS, we're looking for Palantir, and we're looking for Ford. Palantir, of course, going to be the most closely watched of these, but HIMS and hers has been making quite these moves lately, so we're going to be covering all of them.
Yeah, and look, for Vertex there, it doesn't look great, but remember, this is actually underneath. Like the move down 3% to the downside, that's actually less than the expected move of the 4.5. So for now, it's really not all that bad. And for the daily chart, it's holding up rather nicely. Like recently, some of these bottoms, it's still up about 20%. check that. Yeah, about 20% from the lows, maybe a little bit better than that, and holding on to the 200 period moving average, which is down at 470. So that's one to watch. Of course, Palantir, which made I guess in market sense, it doesn't count when you make an all-time high in the aftermarket. So like that, the 126 that you would have, 126 change that you would have been able to see in the aftermarket last night, it doesn't really count, but it does get there today for a bit of a double top. We could break this one out easily on PLTR with a 14% expected move. I mean, you're not even, if you pull back, it's so far up recently that even if it pulls back to 14%, you're not really dipping at any big levels. I don't know if someone we just started to move here a little bit on Palantir. But I don't think maybe we're a minute early. I don't think we'd be moving only $1 initial candle. We saw this happen with Netflix and some other names on earnings, where the initial move, someone gets a little fat finger action, even though the report isn't out yet. That could be the case with that little dollar drop. Like someone just got antsy, someone hit the sell key there a little bit early, not a lot of liquidity in the aftermarket. So we haven't heard them as being out just yet. But the volume is starting to pick up here, and now you're starting to getting a little more acceleration to the downside here from Palantir. Although it snaps right back into the 123, it's just whipsawing around, and I don't have the numbers yet, Adara, but it's starting. Now it's really starting to fall. Now at 120, so you're starting to get a little bit of a heavier bid here right now on PLTR. Still nothing just yet. Ford is apparently out. But I mean, Palantir is the one that people are probably watching right now, heading to the downside, and it just keeps bouncing. We go 120 back into 21, into 22, and back into those lows. So it's really moving despite the fact the earnings aren't out just yet.
I have them out now, Palantir. So they recorded 39% year-over-year revenue growth, apparently. U.S. revenue growth, specifically 55% year-over-year. They did raise their guidance to 36% year-over-year growth, and they're expecting U.S. commercial revenue here to grow by 68% year-over-year. Let's see these actual numbers, though, because we're okay. So U.S. revenue, where's the overall revenue? $884 million. Analysts were looking for $862.89 million based on the estimates I'm seeing. So it looks like we had a beat. Now, what do we have here for earnings per share? Okay. GAAP earnings of 8 cents per share, adjusted earnings of 13 cents per share. Based on what I'm seeing, analysts were looking for 13 cents. So they either were in line or they missed, depending on what estimate we're looking at. Now, I always like to clarify that the estimates I see are not necessarily going to be the ones that the market goes with, but in this case they were. So 13 cents, as I alluded to, in line with estimates. Sales, though, they were a beat, $883.86 million versus estimates of $862.83 million. As I mentioned earlier, they had nice year-over-year increases, and they're guiding year-over-year increases. I have HIMS and Ford as well. I can go over once we're done.
Yeah, just so you guys all see it live here. The shorts that were in early, once the numbers have actually been digested and come out there, it's now broken to the top. You're now at all-time highs officially. You can say that through any of the aftermarket. It was like 126.30 or so. You're now up at 127, 128. Still underneath. Look, the expected move's 14%, so it's going to have to do a lot of work to get to that level. It gets you about 141. But that early not fat finger, but the early sellers, initially when the numbers came out, they're in a bit of pain right now. If we can hold over 125 and that 125 half, which was the 52-week high, then you're in a lot of hurt for some of those shorts. It's not a huge short float, but promise you, with a PE like it has, there's going to be some shorts in there for sure. On the other side of the coin, HIMS is to the downside, breaking the $40 level, got all the way to $38 here for HIMS and hers. That said, this has been on a pretty good run itself, and it's still looking it's decent on the daily chart, even with a pullback in here. 40 is going to be a key hold for HIMS, as the two major earnings are going in separate directions now, with HIMS downside, Palantir to the upside, and looking nasty for the short sellers there that might be stuck in Palantir, and you know there are some. So hit that like, hit that subscribe. The show is going to be wild. Can we get those HIMS numbers? As 130 just tagged on PLTR. On a dime, it just hit the 130 mark.
Yeah, here's HIMS, and honestly, HIMS, the market is reacting mostly to the downside, but these numbers are pretty solid. They affirmed their guidance. Again, we're really looking at guidance with tariffs. HIMS affirmed its guidance for the year. So I think that I want to say first and foremost. They had a double beat as well. Keep in mind, Palantir did not. They had inline EPS and a sales beat, but HIMS here with a double beat and revenue notably up 111% year over year. Now, the one thing they did have a decrease on year over year was their wholesale revenue, but again, their online revenue up nicely, their total revenue up a cool 111%. So if your wholesale revenue is the only thing that's down, not a huge a bad look here for me. But yeah, I mean, these numbers look pretty good here for HIMS.
And now it's breaking out.
Now it's breaking out. Ford, for those who want to look at, and Ford didn't, here, I'm seeing it on my side screen. So they posted earnings of 14 cents per share versus an estimate loss of 4 cents per share that I'm seeing. They had revenue here, 15.2 billion versus 14.63 billion estimate. So looks like not a bad look. They had a smaller than expected loss for their Model E EBIT. So that was a smaller than expected loss. Blue revenue above estimate. So this is actually not at all a bad look here. Model E was a bit of a miss here for their revenue, but they did beat on EBIT. So mixed look here for Ford. I'll pull up the chart so you guys can see it because this is still HIMS and hers, which has been really chopping around.
Avert your eyes if it's a daily chart.
Ford is kind of just chopping here. It's not super shocking.
No, it's not looking that strong. We actually mentioned this morning that if it could just do anything positively, $10.50 could give you some room to break it out. But it's just a disappointing move overall to do absolutely nothing on Ford. It's HIMS and Palantir that everyone's probably concerned about. And HIMS, it tried to go. It really did. Like, it got out and about above 42. There was a press through 43 very briefly. What was dangerous, though, is when it lost 43, it made another run at the high and completely rejected the afternoon level of 42.80, and now you're back down testing 40. So HIMS barely staying green on the session after rejecting that 43. Remember, we talked about that as being a big level the other day. It doesn't seem like it has the juice to get through it currently. Palantir, similarly, look, when you have an all-time high, I mean, it was a blue sky setup. 130 just happened to be the spot, I guess. It was like the first even dollar it ran into, and that's where the sellers came in at 130. Just lost the breakout, now back underneath in red on Palantir. Still in the exact same range. Like, you have a 130 top. It broke 120 a couple of times early after the report, and then you had that same low that Sean grabbed at 121. You're still very much inside of that range, but you don't want to see this happen where you lose that high. Reddit was a similar example of this, where it's like, yeah, it looks pretty good. It's seesawing, and then you get the gap down the next day just because it's been flying so high. So Palantir, while they beat on that revenue, overall, it looks like the sellers came in at that even dollar and unable to hold that all-time high on PLTR. Now, remember, all things, you've got to put things in perspective. This is a stock that was $66 going back to that April low, and it's a little unrealistic to say anyone's in there, but like, you call it like the 75, 76 level. From that point, you're up a good 60, 70%. So going into the print, any consolidation buys are deep in the money, and they've won into earnings for the all-time high. So when it loses that all-time high, well, it's kind of a natural profit take, I say. And I know some people don't like selling at all-time highs. I think in this particular case, there's some sellers in that all-time high. But just because it's doing one thing in the aftermarket doesn't mean it's an easy, Palantir is going to be a sell now. The same way it wasn't so obvious when we were trading things like Robinhood in the aftermarket and then looking at what it did the next day. It's never quite that simple. Just to go back to something that happened this morning, and we have just a little bit of a review, because I know we have the earnings. If we move a little bit more on Palantir, like break the low, get any updates on numbers, we'll definitely keep you guys abreast. But I did want to cover something that happened. Obviously, we all know that Warren Buffett, or by now you've heard it, is stepping away from Berkshire Hathaway and the bid that it caught. Day one, the reaction was been negative for this. It ends up closing underneath that 50-period moving average. It hasn't spent a lot of time down here, but I think I was looking for it to regain that 50-period. It would have been a good thing if it could have held above it, but with it closing below, I don't wonder if it doesn't give us a free gap fill into the 200-period moving average. And when I say the stock respects the 200-period moving average on the daily, this has been almost like to the penny, hold the 200 since the Golden Cross. Hey, I knock the Golden Cross all the time, everybody. Since the Golden Cross in 2022, end of 2022, hold the 200, hold the 200, hold the 200, hold the 200. If it retests the 200-period moving average, and doesn't hold, then we'll know something different is happening in Berkshire stock. But that's one thing I wanted to make sure we talked about here before. I know we're going to have Michael Noss in just a minute, and we'll be monitoring this Palantir situation, the HIMS and HERS situation. But I wanted to make sure we got to that, because I'll tell you, a lot of people look at a name like Berkshire, and it's just been so stable, so steady. Buy and hold, buy that 200 period and just win, 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 win. If that does change, hey, short term, maybe there is some kind of a good short pullback, but man, you start breaking that 200 period, you can get like generational buying opportunities. Although if you're skeptical about the new leadership, who does know? So Palantir, just a bit of a recap, the 120 level is now starting to look a little bit more firm. We've had a couple of wicks underneath it on the 3, but it's holding on pretty nicely. When you've got hundreds of dollars in terms of PE and forward PE, the fact that it's actually catching a bid in the same spot tells you there's still many buyers in this stock. So could get back into the green. For now, I'd say a very muted reaction for Palantir, muted reaction for HIMS. They've both been up and down, mostly now to said downside. But I do believe we are we? Yeah, we are ready to go. We have our trader talk. It's going to be the Nos boss himself. Let's bring him in. I don't have my key. It's not working. But it is Michael Noss, our good friend from Stats Edge. Appreciate you coming on. We heard you talking this morning, and I wanted to make sure we actually got to Berkshire, because I know that's something you were mentioning this morning as well. So first off, welcome back. And how's the day been for you?
It's been good. It obviously, as someone who was a little bit bullish, I was hoping that little rally we had in the afternoon would stick. Looks like it didn't, came back down, but we need a rest anyway, so it seems like that's what we're getting.
Yeah, fair enough, absolutely. And, you know, what were we, 9 days in a row on the S&P, coming into a Monday? Like, it's always a tougher day to continue a streak like that. You didn't necessarily have anything... Like, we didn't have any real big positive catalyst that was going to get us to the upside. If anything, you know, the fact that there was any new tariff talk probably didn't help things at all, regardless of what you think about this Hollywood tariff or the movie tariff that's coming in there. It can't necessarily be good. New tariffs aren't going to be a good thing.
I was just saying, yeah, that was a super funny tweet. I was reading it on the weekend. We're going to tariff movies now. I hear there's some sports talk he's going to do later, so maybe we're tariffing sports. So who knows at this point? It's, if nothing else, this shows you that the market, regardless what technicals say, regardless what the levels you have, at the end of the day, we're in an environment where a tweet can move anything, so you better be on your toes.
100%. Now, there's something that I've heard you say many times. And it has to get brought up now, and that's the old: you don't want to sell highs or all-time highs. Usually, you want to buy things as they're breaking out all-time highs.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you look at a chart of Palantir, and for anybody out there that's a fundamental that looks at fundamentals, they'll look at a PE of this thing or forward PE, and they'll just freak out. Their head's going to explode if you look at a stock like with its fundamentals. It just doesn't make any sense that it's up here. Yet, it did just in the aftermarket hit a fresh new high, and it is a double top. If it's a tempting stock for a lot of people right now to take some profit on it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's distinct. It, to me, is distinctly different from the usual linear, non-crazy moves into a high, and you want to give it a chance to go. Don't sell it up there like maybe like a GE, which is more gently trending into its high. But what's your take on this? Is there something different about a name which gets to the all-time high as quickly as Palantir did, and with that big a percentage move?
Well, yeah, so right off the bat, full disclosure, because I'll always do this, as of April 1st, so that's around $80 or so, I'm in Palantir.
Okay.
Again, at Stats Edge, we use just systems. The systems have us rotating into what looks like the strongest names at the time, and Palantir and Netflix was one of them, just because what you were saying, this is hitting new all-time highs, and it just looked stronger to the systems even before that than the overall market. So it'd be really hard for me to sell something like Palantir hitting new all-time highs now, not just because it's a stock that's hitting new all-time highs, but when you contrast that to what we're doing in the market, where yes, the market is bouncing and we're up like 17 or 20% off the lows. However, it's just doing so much better than the market, where we're still down, I think, over 10% from the highs here. 7.5. So the fact that this is hitting all-time highs first is very interesting to me, because if you study us coming out of bear markets, it is the names that generally hit the all-time highs first that end up doing the best. So, for example, out of the last bear market, we had NVIDIA and semiconductors that kind of pulled us out. And then the whole thing was an AI trade. You basically were long AI stocks, or you underperformed. So the fact that what's breaking us out this time is not only Palantir, but I don't know if this is a spicy take, but I'm going to put Palantir in the rest of the defensive industry, and that's hitting new all-time highs as well. Makes me think that this is not only an industry that I potentially want to own, but also a stock that I want to continue to own. But of course, because my systems tell me to do it, I'll own it anyway.
Yeah, well, I agree with you on the defense thing. It absolutely boggled my mind when there was a lot of people like, oh, defense spending is going to go down. Like, you know what? There's certain things that, especially when you're investing or trading, you just need to see it to believe it. Like, convince me that overall defense spending is going to go down in a meaningful way, because I've been around a long time and it just doesn't happen. Convince me that Berkshire Hathaway is no longer going to be an upward trend. Convince me that you don't just dollar cost average into the SP 500 and then sit until your retirement. It's like certain things you need to be convinced about. So I love that breakout on the defense names. I just think for a lot of traders out there, like the long-term hold, fine, I get that. For a lot of traders out there, I always use the term scratch the itch, and there's a couple of ways. I don't think I could be in something like this, and granted, I'm literally in Netflix doing the same thing, and I have not put a trailing stop in on the long-term position. But if I was in a swing here, I don't know how I wouldn't have some kind of a trail on it on Palantir, at least. Is that something you incorporate into your system? Is there some kind of a, if we get to a certain point, there's a statistical trail, or is it all just about the key levels? I'm just curious how you'd be managing it if you want to hold, because you don't want to take it off when it looks this strong on the daily.
Yeah, so each system is different, right? We have some systems that are trading, right? They're mean reversion, they're short-term in nature. This particular one is more of an investment type system. So the idea is that I want to own this basket of top names in whatever the market is at the time, and I just want to rotate into them. So if at some point Palantir gets knocked out of that top area and is no longer a top name, then the system will sell that and buy whatever it is to replace it. For example, Tesla we actually had for a pretty long period of time, and then as that kind of sold off from its highs, it just naturally got knocked out at the end of the month and replaced with, in this case, again, I think it was Netflix that came into that. So the idea is that for this particular system, there's no stop, there's no profit target. The idea is that if we own the strongest names for the longest period of time, then eventually we'll outperform the markets. But if I was trading this and doing some sort of trend following technique, yeah, I'd pick a moving average, 21 EMA, I know is a common one, 20 period or something like that, and say, hey, when we close below that, it's going to be time to go. Until then, let me stay involved. Or another way to do it is just to simply, the old school turtle way, and you just pick a number of candles lows and you go below that, right? So, you say, okay, if we break a new 10-day low or a new 5-day low or something, that would make sense. Because just looking at this technically, you are very, very stretched from almost a double in pretty much a straight line to hit all-time highs. I would not be surprised. I see that, in the post-market after earnings, we're down a little bit. I would not see surprised if this comes into, 110 or something and settles in there before making new highs. So the question you have to ask yourself is how much of a pullback are you okay with in order to give it that chance to potentially make this new all-time highs? And you mentioned about the defense spending, how it seems like every administration tells us that they're going to lower the defense budget, and then every administration raises the defense budget. It does make sense that, yes, you want these things to prove to you that they're going to reverse in some way, because if we're going to continue, I think it was a 20% increase in defense spending, that's one of those things that if you were shorting this name expecting that decrease in defense spending and the exact opposite happened, there could be a lot of shorts that are caught off guard. So if that's the case, then generally what you'll see is that it will pull back a little bit. The shorts will use that as a good excuse to be able to unload their position, putting a floor in it. So yeah, right now I would say, depending on your time frame, if you're a long-term Palantir bull, maybe you put a 50-day moving average in it. If you're a short-term Palantir bull, maybe put a 10-period moving average in it. But you pick something that makes sense for your time frame, and then you kind of take your hands off and you say, okay, the first day that we close below this, I'm out. Until then, let it go. Because as we've seen before, if you zoom out with Palantir, this guy can get wacky. So you want to give it that chance to get a little bit nuts.
That's a thing. Like when it moves irrationally to the upside, you want to give it a chance. I mean, I suppose you could put an anchor to the recent low that we just had off of Liberation Day. That's another thing that I think makes a lot of sense when the market made that like kind of wipe out bottom, and then look at that average price. It's just whatever someone is comfortable with. One of the things that I know when you talk about this as well, trading is fractal and you can apply things on multiple time frames, but you still have to know your own time frame. So I'm glad you cleared that up. That is more of like a market positioning thing and not a swing trade. Because as I know, when you were in maybe like natural gas or something that is a very much just a swing trade, I know you would have taken profit certainly, and not be looking to hold it as long. You get that gain, make sure you take some profit off. So know which bucket you're in, have a strategy for yourself that works is the most important part. Now, all of that said, we're getting through earnings season here, Michael. And obviously, so far, I think it's been very much like a stock picker's market in earnings. I don't know if there's any like general earnings have been really good. You get a lot of sandbagging, and then the reactions have somehow been like misleading. Like you think Robinhood's going to squeeze, and then it ends up coming to the downside. Reddit, sort of a similar story. Is there anything that's been standing out to you for some setups that we haven't had a chance to discuss? I know this morning you're really more talking about Berkshire, but is there anything in particular that crosses your eye technically now that we're getting into the back end of the earnings season? We get more data and more price action.
Yeah, for most earnings play, I need a little bit more time. Two of the strategies that I'm working on now for earnings are, give it a week and then pick a moving average for it to pull into or something like that. What stand out generally with earnings for me, though, is just exactly what you mentioned, right? We have Palantir moving lower, and then we had all these different names reacting, right? Netflix, its earnings was right down here, and the thing just rocketed. So what I think the market is doing more than anything, and I think what we need to pay attention to going forward, is just like last year where the whole theme was AI. There was all those, I love those clips of CEOs on conference calls, and they just edited every time he said AI in, and they would count them. Yeah, this guy said AI 50 times. This guy said AI 30 times. I think the amount of times that they say tariffs is going to make all the difference in the world, because what it feels like with the market, especially today being really choppy, what we notice is that this was very, very spread out, right? So this is the just change for today in the market. There was a lot of green, there was a lot of red, and there's a lot of gray, which means it did nothing. So we're not in this kind of market where everything's going up and everything's going down. We are getting this kind of bifurcated market, which is rotation, which is what we need to see in order for that next leg to get higher. People need to kind of de-lever from the names that worked before and get into the names that are working now. So I expect earnings season to be exactly that. We are going to see names that are reacted super positively and names that are reacting super poorly, and we have to figure out potentially which one of those each individual stock is, which has pros and cons, right? It means that it is a stock picker's market. As people out there who like to pick stocks and like to play individual names, I think it's going to be great for people out there who like to play indexes and like to play these baskets of stocks. I think it's going to be a really hard time until we get this next theme, whatever that ends up being, whether it's psychedelics or Ozempic or defense or whatever ends up being that pulls us out of this current bear market. I think we're really going to have this bifurcated type of market. So pay attention. I think this is the time that you have to work when we have a bifurcated market, and grab your favorite stocks. Look for things that are hitting new all-time highs, because there's a bunch out there.
Yeah, always look for that relative strength and weakness, which is what it comes down to. Like, for example, like XLE is pretty bad. You just saw that with oil again today. And then XLF, like the financials, which had been reacting very well. Even some of the fintech names have been relatively strong. So, as always, Michael, it's an absolute pleasure having you on. And I appreciate you talking candidly about, not just your Palantir position, but the strategy sort of behind it and your approach to it. So, I mean, congratulations on the long. It's obviously working out very well for you. Best of luck with it in the future, for sure. And we look forward to talking to you later this week here. Michael Noss, our good friend from Stats Edge. Appreciate having you on.
Thanks for having me. I'll talk to you Friday.
All right, take care, brother.
Thank you, Michael.
Yeah, always fun here. Dara, I know we only have a couple of minutes left, so HIMS and hers and Palantir. I think in both cases, you've got this round trip going. Palantir breaking lows again, now about to get to 115. So it's underneath the expected move. But if you look at how much it's traveled, we've traveled $15 here when it was 125-ish from the close. So the actual move is a pretty decent one, rejecting that all-time high, and then HIMS as well. With a slight up, it's tried to break the top, maybe not by as much as Palantir, but then ending up lower. Ford, a bit of a nothing burger, everybody. And it wasn't like the report was that bad in either one of these cases, but in Palantir's case, I mean, maybe the PE comes into play here. Certainly the fact that once it was underneath that all-time high, you've wicked the top, it's just like a standard reversal setup. But neither one of those names was it all that bad, but they'd all run so much, Adara.
I think especially in the case of Palantir, HIMS at least had a double beat and 100%,
right,
more than 100% year-over-year revenue growth. Palantir had something like 39% revenue growth, so not bad. They did raise some of their fiscal year guidance, but that in-line earnings per share, not a great look when, as you mentioned, the PE is so significantly high. That could have been what did Palantir in here a little bit. Also, I want to mention Nike here. NKE did get a little bit of a wick after hours. Apparently, the company is restructuring its leadership team. It's going to be splitting its consumer product and brand segment into 3 new areas. They're going to call them consumer and sport, marketing, and product creation. So one of the executives is going to retire, and 3 new executives will set into these roles to support the company's Win Now growth plan. This sounds suspiciously similar to another new CEO's plan that would be Brian Niccol and back to Starbucks, which, as far as I'm concerned, involves far too many Sharpies and not enough getting baristas to move faster. Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, that does sound very similar, but they're in the same boat, right? It's been the Chinese exposure has not been good for either one of them. You can make an argument that Starbucks has a little bit of sentiment going along with it as well, as people outside of the U.S. might not want to be picking up. I've heard that sentiment a little bit here in Canada, that they don't want to go to Tim's instead. Nike, why can't you I'm just going to leave it at this before we get to roll call. Why can't you just break 60? I think it's a great trade if it can close above the $60 level. But once again, we have another resistance spot, and Nike just can't seem to break it out. It's trying to make a bottom, just can't seem to pull it off, unfortunately. It's another one of those, and it's another one of those afternoons where the price action is good in the aftermarket, maybe not what everyone's looking for, but if you're a trader, you can't argue with the fact that Palantir is going to be a mover tomorrow. You can't argue with the fact that HIMS is going to be a mover tomorrow. Maybe just because we've gone so far, you get a bit of a pullback, but that the longs have already had their day and have been winning. So it's going to be volatility tomorrow for sure, but it is roll call time right here, right now on the Profit X Recap Show, where, hey, first thing we do, give a big shout out to Fabian on the 1s and 2s all day long. Fabian and Andre doing a fantastic job with it. Got to give a big shout out to the Midday Boys, the Bash Brothers, of course, Sharif and Joe looking dapper today. It was picture day, so they had to look incredibly dapper. Sean and I were pretty much normal. Give a big shout out to Sean on the Palantir long, of course, earlier. He's gone. He's going to be track day as well tomorrow. And, of course, a big shout out to Adara on the news desk, keeping everybody informed all day long with accurate and timely news. Key on the accurate. She always makes sure she gets it right. It's not about being first, it's about making sure you get it right. And a big shout out to Bears versus Bulls, best moderator in the business. But make sure you hit the like and subscribe to Subs Only Chat. If you want to be in roll call, then you got to make sure you're a subscriber. Let's get in there right now and do it.
Yeah, thank you for the kind words there, Neil. Though I also must mention in this news cycle, sometimes the news itself is not accurate, but if it's moving, you have to accurately tell people that it is out.
It's true.
Very new thing, still getting used to it, but I always want to clarify, sometimes the stories seem a little bit hard, but I'm just reading what the market is reacting to. We'll always get it right for you in the end. Thank you so much to Bears vs. Bulls. Thank you to Neil, Sean, Sharif. We have got Brendo, we have Joe, we have Fabian, Ramin, Andre, And we're going to have Obi on the desk tomorrow. We're going to have Chris here, Surcore Trader, Ronaldo, Derek Thompson, Normal Special, Papa LaCour. Don't mind if we do. Pelican, Mike DeRuyter. We've got Marcelo Prieto, the student, AB, Chris Donnelly. We've got Bart Simpson, Anish, Gangsta Farts, Razul, Pedro Khan, Coach Hartman, Cass, H, Rubicon Pelican, Dilwar. We've got William Edwards, Bill, Donkey Trader, Mimi Lulu, Marlon, Pepper Potts, Sebastian Ontiveros, Nevid, Isaac, Loco, Trav Man, and we're going to end your Save Man, Woman, Peace. Thank you so much to everybody for being here today. We'll be back with you tomorrow, same time.
And shout out to Loco for this one. The girlfriend gets mad at me when I shout out roll call and grab her roll. Sorry.
Oh, boy.
Oh boy. With that one, shout out to all of you. You guys have a great sense of humor in there. I know we're just having fun with you. But we're going to have a lot of fun tomorrow. Palantir is going to be a mover. HIMS and Hers is going to be a mover. I can't promise you that Ford is going to move, but if it does, we'll cover it anyways. Why? Because we're Trader TV Live, and we'll see you bright and early, 8:30 in the morning. Bye, guys. I pity the fool that doesn't hit the like and subscribe button.